and that the matter now has been left to the Indian courts to pronounce a verdict upon. But despite the assurances, despite the clarification, the OIC has thus far not shown any signs of backing off. In some UAE nations, Indian fruit products are being pulled off the shelf. But the fundamental baseline question is, should India be concerned about what the Gulf countries think? Well, not if you ask Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan, who has said demands by Gulf countries, and I'm quoting him, demands by Gulf countries seeking an apology from the government were not important. India can't bother about such small reactions. He says, pay more attention to what the Prime Minister and the RSS chiefs say, as they want to strengthen the tradition of inclusiveness. Follow their advice to the T. This is what Arif Muhammad Khan says. Now, viewers, I'll tell you why Arif Muhammad Khan is right. Gulf countries can hardly make any special claims to be pluralistic, and neither have they stood with India when it has mattered most. A series of hard facts that we're going to put out on your screens right now will prove what I'm saying. Saudi Arabia frowns on idol worship. Qatar places restrictions on public worship by adherents of faith other than the Islamic tradition. Iran isn't trusted by most of its Muslim neighbors, who accuse it of being intolerant or waging a clandestine jihad against them. The UAE doesn't permit conversions, and in almost all Gulf nations, apostasy is punishable by death. Viewers, let me get into more specifics. These are hard facts, and you know on this show, on India Upfront, I always tell you the hard facts. None of this is cherry-picked, viewers. Easily discernible. These hard facts we bring out so that you, the viewer, can get closer to the truth. Let's look at the OIC's Human Rights Report Card. Let's talk about Pakistan first. It's a member of the OIC. Systematic minority persecution. UN report. Violent persecution of 6.2 million Baloch. Extermination of Sikh, Hindus, Christians. Pak's first Sikh cop assaulted, turban ripped, he was later sacked. EU report again talks about abductions, forced marriages with minorities with the aim of converting them. You look at Saudi Arabia, another member of the OIC. They all lecture India, but look at Saudi Arabia, admitted to the killing of journal Jamal Khashoggi. So much for free speech, viewers. Saudi Arabia, male guardianship, man's approval to marry, travel, etc. It's accused of carrying out massacres of Houthis in neighboring Yemen. 2015 to 2018 military ops against Yemen's Houthi rebels. There are many such crimes that are listed. 6,592 were killed. We're talking about Houthis here. 10,471 injured in 90 unlawful attacks. Indonesia, 2016 violent eviction of over 7,000 heretical, as they categorized them, Ghafatars. Islamist groups fatwa on Ghafatars, Ahmadiyas, Christians, 2005. Then President vowed action against deviant beliefs. There are several infractions. Iraq, ISIS genocide of Yazidis, executions, mutilations, rape, torture, sexual slavery, child soldiers, it's all there. Iran, 2019 ban on students from unrecognized religions like the Baha'i. Several other crimes are listed against the Iranian regime. It has been facing sustained sanctions for several years altogether. The House of Al Thani that rules Qatar has been suspected of links to the Al-Qaeda. Saudi Arabia is one of the lead sponsors of Pakistan, and I don't need to tell you what Pakistan does with that money. And the OIC as a forum ditched India during the Indo-Pak War of 71, lectures India on Kashmir and slammed the abrogation of Article 370, viewers. It's no friend. None of these countries are friends. They are at best fair weather allies. Yet, viewers, there are many in our country. There are many living here on Indian soil that want us to pay heed to what the OIC is saying. The opposition here is up in arms and is blaming the ruling dispensation for tarnishing India's image in the Muslim world just because the OIC has released statements. The OIC that, of course, is always galvanized by Pakistan. And let me tell you, viewers, that there has been a sustained escalation ever since Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal made those remarks about propaganda against India. A veritable anti-India toolkit has been floated, and several organizations from the Muslim Brotherhood to many elements in Pakistan have been tweeting anti-India propaganda to create what in India we call a mahal against the country, an environment to try and berate India. Let me open this up, because we've heard the likes of the governor of Kerala. We've heard several others who have said that we don't need to be stressed. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Sushant Sarina here with us. Dr. Ranganathan, the OIC, I would tell them to back off.
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to the other esteemed panelists. So, this organization is speaking of religious tolerance or persecution, wherein the OIC, 13 countries being an atheist, carries the death penalty. It is like the devil quoting the scriptures, or Hafiz Saeed saying he believes in non-violence. Fact is that these despotic regimes where the state sanctions flogging, death by stoning, chopping of hands, doesn't allow religious freedom, have been prodded and poked, as you said, into this hypocritical stand by none other than the Muslim intellectuals of our country, and that is a tragedy. But while this is to be expected, because of Ummah or the Muslim Brotherhood being supreme and above the nation of residence, especially if the nation like India is Daral Harb, something that Dr. Ambedkar famously talked of, it is we are also at fault. We, as in India, we should have challenged these outrageous to quote the revered Islamic scriptures, Sahih Bukhari 5134 and Sunan Nasai 3378, and asked them if they constitute blasphemy. It was that simple. Ek hafta chala gaya. Instead, India bowed down. Modi listened to the Arabs because they employ 5 million Indians in their country, but didn't listen to 500 million Indians employed in his own country. Rahul, the governor is absolutely right. India is a glorious melting pot of all religions, and everyone has constitutional rights, including those who belong to a religion that extols its supremacy and calls for the annihilation of non-adherents. Unko bhi samman dete hain. Sure, there is discrimination and victims to their perpetrators tomorrow, but is it limited to one religious community? No. Look at what is happening to Kashmiri Hindus in Kashmir right now as we speak. It may appear so because of selectivity and victimhood, and some have perfected this art honestly. One day, I'd like to write a book that, despite being bigoted, misogynist and violent, is revered by billions who, while loving its content, would exhibit a profound persecution complex and accuse readers and authors of other books as being bigoted, misogynist and violent. It is unbelievable what these OIC members brush under the carpet. They are the real Islamophobes, Rahul. They fear Islam. They fear to make public the work of the Holy Book in its entirety because they fear being called illiberal and hypocrite. They accuse others of being Islamophobic, but they themselves are Islamophobic. I challenge Pakistanis and all these members to tell me the prescribed fate in their book of homosexuals, unbelievers, blasphemers, fornicators, dress code violators, idol worshippers, interreligious married apostates. Their hypocrisy is as transparent as the Zamzam today.
Well, Mujibur Rahman, yet we are told that because of what the OIC thinks, India's image has been tarnished beyond repair, that we have lost face in the international community. Mujibur Rahman, why are we giving so much importance to the OIC?
This is not just the faith of the other nations. India is losing relationship, and even the relationship with other countries is going deteriorated day by day. Second thing is it's not just a loss of a relationship, but an economical loss also. So I think these fringe elements like Nupur Sharma should be booked under UAPA for damaging the our nation in every way, economical and even in the foreign policy also. So Mr. Anand is just advocating that someone has a right to do insult to the other religion just because some Kashmiri Pandit has been killed 20 or 30 years ago. So I can see that how he wants to see the things. But the thing is, a culprit, a criminal is still at large. And why, for what we are waiting for? And we are just waiting for more damage? Why?
Mujibur Rahman,
because that
why are you so,
no,
1 second. Why are you so obsessed about the OIC? Let me tell you something. One of the biggest partners. Okay, yes, Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in. Yes.
Ruling regime.
Mr. Rahman, you took my name. That is why I'm interjecting. I apologize. Look, I'm not here to debate with you. I'm just asking you a simple question. You are wanting Nupur to be charged under UAPA, right? I want a simple request. Please accede to my request. Please quote the verses from Sahih Bukhari 5134 and Sunan Nasai 3378. That's it. You are a Muslim, practicing Muslim. Please quote those verses. If you want me to quote, I will quote. But please quote and tell me where is the blasphemy. Tell me.
I have many more verses.
Mr. Rahman, 1 second. No, 1 second. Mr. Rahman, 1 second. Let me just step in here. No, 1 second. Let me just step in. 1 second. Mr. Rahman, I'm going to know your fader. Just let me step in. I just want to make a very important interjection here. Look, this is not a debate about the rights or wrongs. The BJP, the government has already taken a position on someone like Nupur Sharma. We may disagree, we may agree, it doesn't matter. I am today more invested in my country's standing. I as an Indian and you as an Indian, sir. And I want to ask you, why are you today tom-tomming the propaganda, the malicious propaganda of the OIC in my own land, Mr. Rahman? Who is the OIC? What
Nupur
special
Sharma
claim do they have
propaganda
to preaching to us?
Who initiated that
आप
propaganda?
मुझे ये बताइए, does the OIC have any moral authority to preach to India?
What are the links of Nupur Sharma to the
Mr.
OIC?
Rahman,
Might be
Mr. Rahman,
Mr.
Rahman, 1 second. Mr. Rahman, 1 second. You don't want to listen to me.
Also be investigated.
Mr. Rahman, I'm only asking you a simple question. Are you a judge? You're not a judge. You're not the jury. You're not the executioner. Let Nupur Sharma be judged by the judge, the jury and the executioner. Okay, her day will come, her day will not come. Maybe before that you will lop her head off. I don't know. But let's not for a moment make this about the culpability of one person that the law will now decide. She is no longer playing an active role in the BJP. She has been shown her place, suspended. You can want UPA, you can want 2PA, you can want... I like the way you want UAPA. Earlier you were against the UAPA.
He's against UAPA.
He's against UAPA. Now they want UAPA. इनका कुछ नहीं हो सकता. मगर nonetheless, let me just ask a basic question, Mr. Rahman.
I am against the UAPA. If it's
so then why do you want the UAPA? Then you should not want the UAPA. Anyhow, Mr. Rahman, I just want to ask you a simple question. Does the OIC, excuse me, can I answer the, can I ask the question? You can only answer when I ask you the question.
Yes.
सुन तो लीजिए. Sir,
you have already asked the one question. Now let me answer.
I'm asking you the question.
First question.
I'm asking you the question. The question is very simple.
I am against.
Do you believe?
If it is invoked against an innocent to who frame them in a case.
Okay, sir. But you don't have a problem with the law. Okay, fine. Great. Thank you for telling me. So the law is kosher. It's okay. Now, Mr. Rahman, I want to ask you, do you believe that the OIC has any right to be preaching to India, any moral authority? Bataiye. Rahman Sahab,
It's not
bataiye.
about India.
Can you answer?
It's not about India. Prophet is do not pertain to India. Blasphemy is not bounded by the limitation. Even the Muslims living outside India can take no question. Even can file
Does
a
the
criminal case
OIC
against
have the
Sharma in
moral
International
authority
Criminal Court
to
of
lecture
Justice.
India?
And the thing is,
I'm not asking you a quiz question. This is not general knowledge. I'm asking you a simple question.
Nupur Sharma is why?
There you go. So, look, Mr. Rahman doesn't have a response, viewers. They don't want to stand with what is modern, with what is and who is inclusive. They want to peddle a narrative that was frozen in time.
Cannot be modern.
One second. Sushant Sareen, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Does he enjoy any moral authority to lecture India? It's a simple question. I hope you will not give me a circuitous answer that Mr. Rahman is giving me, because he doesn't have the courage of conviction to speak up against the Ummah as such. Nonetheless, I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
So,
but Sushant Sareen,
look,
you have no such compulsions.
I don't know, Rahul, I don't know why you call even people like this guy who's been, shooting his mouth off on your show, because, ideally, there are enough people who will have a reasoned argument, who will make an argument in a reasoned way. But I don't know what is this model that you call these people, but that's your problem. On the question which you've asked me, look, number one, I don't know why we are getting our knickers in a twist over the OIC. When have we ever taken the OIC seriously? Every year, at least twice a year, the OIC passes gratuitous remarks on India, on Kashmir, and they are all entirely written by the Pakistani diplomats who are present out there. There is an OIC contact group which none of you have even heard of, which, the Pakistanis sit on it, they frame out something, they give it to the OIC, the OIC vomits out whatever they receive from the Pakistan. Nobody takes the OIC seriously, not even the OIC members. For the last, I don't know how many decades, the Pakistanis have been going to the OIC, demanding action against India. The Arab countries generally pass some, one of those resolutions, but they throw those resolutions themselves in the rubbish bin. So I don't know why people out here are saying that we need to take the OIC seriously at this point in time. Having said that, on what has happened this latest episode, and I completely understand where my friend Anand is coming from, and obviously the gentleman whom he asked that question to was not ready to answer that question, because then that entire narrative and this fake narrative which they are building up will collapse. But having said that, I don't even want to wade into that controversy. The issue now is one of diplomacy. Look, let's face the thing. We have very vital interests attached in West Asia and the Middle East, right? Similarly, many of those countries have vital interests attached to India. If they are a market for us, they are a source of jobs for our people. Incidentally, people like Mr. Rahmani who want the Arab world to boycott India will also not get jobs, or all that charity money which comes into, through money laundering operations to many of these characters will also stop coming. But I'm not even going down that road. What I'm saying is that it is a mutually beneficial relationship which we have with many of the Gulf countries. An issue has erupted. They have summoned, for example, some of these countries have summoned an Indian ambassador and protested. Where we thought necessary, we have replied. Where we thought it not necessary, we have let the matters lie. Now, if there is further retaliation, then maybe the government of India will have to consider what its next steps are going to be.
Yes.
But just because some joker in OIC wants India to apologize, India is not going to apologize.
And that's the problem.
It
because
is a matter
here,
between the
Mr.
Bharatiya Janata Party.
Here you have
it's
a large number of
the Janata Party and it's
sure, but here in India you have a large number of amplifiers, for the lack of a better word, of the OICs, and let me quote the government here. The OIC's narrow-minded and unwarranted comments. It's not my words. So I'm going to ask Lokesh Jindal and Tehseen Poonawala. Mr. Jindal, do you agree with the Indian government statement that the OIC Secretariat issued unwarranted and narrow-minded comments on India on the back of what was said by two BJP spokespeople or fringe elements, or call them whatever you want to?
Yes, good evening, Rahul. See, if we are asking what morality does OIC have in dictating terms to India, similarly, what morality does Nupur Sharma have to comment about Islam? See, when we are talking about topics such as religion, they require, is she a theologian? Is she a philosopher? Is she an Islamic expert? No, she is not.
Wow.
Her only objective was political.
Sir,
and even if she was speaking in a political
Sir, I asked
term,
you a question about the OIC and about India's stand, not Nupur Sharma's stand.
Let me come to that.
So come to
now,
that,
OIC
please.
as an organization,
People are listening to you, they are watching you. The Congress in any case is not going to be heard in the Rajya Sabha before long. It's going to be finished from there. 5 or 7 MPs you will have.
The idea of India is
so you may as well make yourself heard in an intelligent way on our platform.
It is this idea of BJP that is harming India.
So you don't agree? You agree that the OIC is right? That the Indian government was wrong to say that the OIC made unwarranted and narrow-minded comments?
Rather than targeting OIC, Indian government needs to mend its ways.
Okay.
It needs to understand that it is harming India's credibility, India's image internationally. So it has to stop bickering other organizations. It has to stop bickering US. It has to stop bickering all OIC.
Okay.
It has to stop bickering IMF and World Bank. And it has to mend its ways.
Okay. So it must accept
Yes.
every lunatic organization's prescriptions and apologize for it. So the USCIRF, we must take as gospel truth. We must take as gospel truth. We must accept the OIC's pronouncements as gospel truth and do Shashtang Pranam. Fair enough. That is what the Congress says. Okay, fair enough, sir. I've understood your point of view. Accept all the criticism. It is all valid. It is all right. Dr. Ranganathan.
Now, very quickly, Rahul, 30 seconds. My good friend Lokesh Jindal, according to his logic, the other day I saw his very erudite exposition on genetically modified organisms. But he's not a scientist. Why is he commenting on them? So by that logic, when he says that Nupur should be a theologian to be able to comment on religion, he should not be commenting on any matter other than law. In fact, even within law, I'm sorry, knowing his expertise, he should not be commenting on even law. But let me tell you, Rahul. Now, Lokesh, please interrupt. I didn't interrupt.
You can talk about history, let me tell you, without even knowing anything.
Now, Lokesh, now do get up.
Knowing anything about the facts.
Rahul, can I please? I wanted to make a very important point.
Lokesh Saab, he didn't interrupt you. You will have to agree. He didn't interrupt you, sir. I've asked him a question. He's responding to you. Let him finish. You can definitely respond to him. No problem.
Yes.
We are not running away. Neither is Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes.
Let me tell you, he likes a good argument in the evenings.
Oh,
yes.
I do.
Dr.
And
Ranganathan.
Lokesh is a good friend. I like a bit of I wanted to make a very important point, Rahul. And this is where, I believe in Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is the best explanation. And here, that is why I'm telling you that the government has stumbled. You see, the first up question, that is why I have thrown this as an open challenge. Please quote the hadith. Did Nupur draw Prophet Muhammad? Did she draw those cartoons that Charlie Hebdo had drawn? Did Nupur comment on, like Salman Rushdie had commented on Islam and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in satanic verses? No. The government should have said that, look, if you are accusing one of our party members of blasphemy,
we've lost you.
In there.
Yeah.
Because the government didn't do it. Everyone is now believing that indeed Nupur committed blasphemy and the government has punished her for it. So that is why it was absolutely crucial for the government to ascertain whether blasphemy was committed, and if the government cannot ascertain, at least ask the outragers. On what basis do you believe that quoting the hadith is committing blasphemy?
Well,
the
let me tell you,
has stumbled in this.
There is one basic problem here. We should not conflate the government with the BJP. That is something that we must insist upon on this debate. We are still part of a parliamentary system that makes a distinction between government and party. So, first of all, it's not the government's business. I don't know why they got into it, and that, of course, is something that the government now, I think, is beginning to feel a little regretful about. But that's a completely different argument and a completely different debate. My debate tonight is why amplify the unwarranted and narrow-minded OIC statements. Mr. Poonawalla, why does the Congress, why do the opposition parties need to use as leverage what someone like Jeremy Corbyn has to say about India, or what the OIC in all its, sorry to say, hypocritical wisdom has to say about India? Why do you need these crutches? You need the Pakistanis to make a point against India. You say because Pakistan is saying that we have not struck Balakot, so the Indian government is lying. You say because the Chinese have said they have occupied, Tawang and certain valleys, well, it must be true. Why do you need these crutches? Can you explain? Do you believe them? And should you be believing them?
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Good evening to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. I don't want to expand this issue to China, to other issues that you raise. I want to stick to this particular issue, and I'd like to present my point of view. There are two very important issues, and I compliment you, Rahul, and I compliment Dr. Ranganathan for putting out in the upfront on what you all thought about OIC, Pakistan and Afghanistan and the Taliban. I mean, imagine the Taliban lecturing us. So I'm absolutely on page with you on that. Completely. I'm not going to sit here in my homeland, in my motherland, and have the Taliban and Pakistan lecture us. But the moral compass of India, the greatest country in the world, is so large that no matter how wrong anybody is, including a Pakistan, including an Afghanistan, it does give them a right to raise a point of view. This is why this is the greatest country in the world. After all, we gave Kasaba trial, and that is what makes India great and different from them. And as Mr. Sareen rightly pointed out, a career diplomat, somebody who I have a lot of respect for, that India has interests with the Middle East.
There's breaking news coming in on this particular story, viewers. We are being told that the Pakistani ambassador has met with the ambassador or the representative of the OIC in Pakistan itself. Tehseen Poonawalla, now look at this. India is being backstabbed. India stands firm, but Pakistan hobnobs with the OIC, as I was saying, or I think it was Mr. Sushant Sareen who was saying, that the OIC reads out of a script prepared by Pakistan. And we have people on this show that want to amplify the OIC's reservations about minorities in India. Tehseen Poonawalla, can you hear me? Okay, we've lost Tehseen Poonawalla. Lokesh Jindal. Oh, I can, okay, you can hear me. Okay, Tehseen Poonawalla, watch your screen. India is standing firm, but Pakistan is hobnobbing with the OIC. We have confirmation now. And what Sushant Sareen was saying, that the OIC pretty much takes dictation from Pakistan, is coming true. Tehseen Poonawalla.
Yes, but we always knew that. You don't need Mr. Sareen to say that, or you don't need a breaking news. That's absolutely true. We know about it. But my question is larger. Why does the Indian government have the spine of a molten eclair? Why did it not stand up? Why did it get confused with what BJP spokespersons are saying? BJP makes a mistake in India, has to apologize. Why should you, Mr. Shiv Shankar? Why should I, Mr. Jindal, Dr. Ranganathan, or Mr. Sareen have to apologize? It is the BJP that needs to apologize. If there is an apology required or not required, that is a law. That is a question the law will decide.
I think Dr. Ranganathan began
I have a second point
by acknowledging this. But I want to ask you the specific point, because there are a whole bunch of your leaders. There is Gaurav Vallabh of the Congress party. He can say that it's good that the OIC is going ahead and carrying out an inquiry, so to speak. It is good, he goes on to say, that, we are being pulled up. Now, why?
Yes. That's good.
That
it's good.
Inquiry that
Lokesh Jindal, what is good about it?
My words in is
work. Lokesh Jindal, what is good about it?
Please,
let me answer. See, when you talk about a modern nation state and a modern democracy, secularism, pluralism, tolerance, peaceful coexistence.
No, so the OIC believes that Pakistan and India. One second. Pakistan and India must resolve their differences over Kashmir in the United Nations. Will you advocate that? Do you support it? Does the Congress party, Mr. Jindal, support the OIC view that Kashmir must be, no, 1 second, that United Nations must be pressed into resolving the Kashmir issue? Do you support that?
Let me tell you, sir. So let me tell you historical precedents. Even Hitler, while he was being restricted by League of Nations, he went ahead with it, and we know the catastrophe that happened in Europe. Again, when organizations like World Bank, organizations like United Nations, they all condemn India for mixing up the statistics, going ahead with blasphemy.
Rahul, I must come in here.
False propaganda. India needs to learn how to become a democracy rather than turning into a theocracy.
I don't know what.
We are, over a period of time, turning into a theocracy, distorting the entire idea of India.
Mr. Jindal, should theocrats tell us then? So therefore, I'm asking you, just use your own logic. Do you want a lesson from theocrats about how India should become a democracy?
Sir, let me tell you. Sir, let me tell you, this entire idea of Hindutva is only going to harm India in the long run.
Okay,
Although
Dr. Ranganathan wanted to come in, and I think Sushant Sareen, yes, Sushant Sareen, you were clutching your forehead in some amount of distress. 1 second. Yes, Sushant Sareen.
Rahul, you know, I find it obnoxious listening to people like Mr. Jindal and the kind of nonsense they spout about this country. And look, but I'm not surprised. Look, politically, these people are completely ineffective. It's a party in decline. It's a party in terminal decline. And unfortunately, they think that rather than reviving their politics inside India, they can ride into power by seeking external intervention. Not for the first time in our 5,000 year long history is some political player wanting to do that. Which is why you see a relentless propaganda from these people trying to get Europe, trying to get America, trying to get the Arabs, trying to get whoever they can to pull this country down, and which is what Mr. Jindal on your show has admitted. But having said that, look, number one, democracy cannot become a weapon to destabilize India. Democracy is supposed to be our strength. But what these people are trying to do is distort democracy to destabilize India. Okay? Number one. Number two, and more importantly, on the diplomatic front, I think one of the things which India needs to make clear to not OIC but certain member states which have shown a fair degree of agitation is that will every time some idiot in their country make an obnoxious remark on Hinduism or on Hindus, are we going to summon their ambassador and threaten them with sanctions?
Yes.
Is that the way we are going to practice our diplomacy? Because this is what has happened this time. I'm not saying what Nupur Sharma said was right, wrong, according to the scriptures, not according to... I'm not even getting into that debate. All that I'm saying is somebody said something. Okay? There is a law, there is a constitution out here. Whatever has to happen will happen under that. Unless somebody decides they want to take law into their own hands, which I think the government should come down like a ton of bricks on whoever is making unnecessary threats on the life of Nupur Sharma. I think the government is remiss and is showing criminal behavior by not cracking down on those people who are publicly making threats. But having said that, every time somebody makes a statement, the law will kick in. Now, for example, in Qatar, there is a person attached to the national media of Qatar, if I'm not mistaken, who makes some of the most obnoxious remarks about Hinduism. Should we call the Qatari ambassador and issue a démarche to him and tell him that this is where you guys get off? Should we cancel all diplomatic engagement with Qatar if that is the game they want to play? Should we do that with some of the other countries out there? Is this the way international diplomacy is going to be run? I think we need to step back. Okay, and something has happened, perhaps out of a lack of information, perhaps because they were provoked into it, perhaps because they were incited into it. They lodged a protest with India. India has handled it the way India thought best. People can have quibbles with what the government did. The government in its own wisdom did what it did. Okay, we can keep debating it. It's still a free country. But if you are going to continue agitating this matter, then where do you draw the line?
Yes.
I will have to then summon every single Muslim country ambassador and give them, give them hell in démarches, because some idiot somewhere will be spouting some nonsense.
Well, let me tell you.
So I think people need to step back.
Yes.
And take it a little easy on this issue.
Okay, let me now just tell you. You see, the OIC supported Saudi Arabia's judicial procedures in the Jamal Khashoggi murder case. This is what they stand for. It never condemned. It was called out in 2020 by a coalition of 150 organizations. It never condemned the Uyghur massacre that is going on in China. OIC has maintained a silence on the alleged mistreatment of Sunni Kurds in Iran. Viewers, let me tell you, and I'm going to ask this question of Mujibur Rahman and Dr. Ranganathan here. Mujibur Rahman, you have talked about democracy. Lokesh Jindal has talked about democracy. We've heard so much about that word today. But you know that Ms. Sharma has been threatened with rape, beheading. Is that democratic? Mr. Rahman, is that democratic? Will you condemn that? Rape and beheadings for alleged blasphemy.
Actually, I couldn't hear you, Rahul.
Nupur Sharma has been threatened with
it's
beheading and rape.
And
Fatwas have been put on her head.
Not alleged.
I'm asking you, sir, do you believe, since you're an advocate for democratic rights and you have appeared in the Delhi riots cases?
Of the Indian government, even the comment from the OIC, even the statement, let me answer. Even this statement from the OIC is a failure of the Indian state. If Indian state would have
अरे रहमान साहब, मैं आपसे एक छोटा सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ. नुपुर शर्मा के खिलाफ Nupur Sharma has been, sir, please listen to my question. Maybe you didn't hear it. I'll repeat it for the benefit of doubt.
Hero for the Anand or for the Sushant, but anybody who is standing with such people who are criminal in the eye of law, they should be apologized. What's wrong in it?
Okay, so Mr. Rahman, let me ask you.
If you are standing with a criminal, then you should be apologized.
So let me ask you, Mr. Rahman, do you believe those that have threatened Nupur Sharma, that have issued fatwas calling for her beheading, are criminals?
Yes, it's a failure of law and order. Yes, it's a failure.
No, failure of law and order comes later. What about the people who are issuing the threats? Are they criminals?
Arrest him. Why?
Mr. Rahman, are they criminals? The people who are threatening Nupur Sharma with rape and beheadings?
That even being committed a crime.
Sir, forget blaming the law and order. I'm asking you, very simple. Do you condone in any which way the fatwas?
No, not blaming. I'm not blaming. It's a failure. It's a failure of the Indian state. It's a failure of the Indian government.
Okay. Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in on this point.
It's a failure on part of the BJP
and I'll move on right after.
It's a failure.
Rahul, I was going to comment on the brilliant points made by Sushant, but before I do that, take 30 seconds. I just want a simple rephrasing of what you've asked Mr. Mujibur Rahman. It's a very simple thing, and it's a fundamental question I'm going to ask him. Mr. Rahman, do you condemn the slogan, Gustakhe Rasool ki ek hi saza, sar tan se juda? Do you condemn this slogan?
This slogan came after when Nupur Sharma.
There we go. Now Rahul mute him down because he's not going to condemn.
So firstly you have to condemn Nupur Sharma and then arrest him. Not condemn but arrest him.
Yes,
then
of course.
I will condemn your state. Then I will be with you. Then ask me this question.
Rahman Sahab, it's okay. Spare us, sir. I understand. It's a complicated. It's actually a very simple question for a lot of people.
Ordinary people like.
But it is a very complicated and dicey situation for you. I respect the fact that
law and order will fail.
Yes, sir. I respect the fact, sir, that you cannot take a position on this because, unfortunately, you will be deemed also a blaspheme. So I understand that. It's okay. Don't worry. We don't want to put you in a bad situation here tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Dr. Ranganathan, please spare him. Please spare him.
Yes.
You know, he might end up. He might end up also.
I don't want to spare anyone. He's a very erudite gentleman.
He's a lawyer
for human rights who does not condemn that slogan. That's a separate matter. But let me come to what Sushant Paji said. You know, that is the crux of the debate. You see, the entire thing is that, as Sushant, if somebody in Qatar says something Hindu-phobic, would Indian government call the Qatari ambassador? But the point here is that some guy in a country with a population of 3 million, Denmark, made those cartoons and the Arab world went ballistic. The point is, India has reacted. India should not have reacted. Once you react, then you have to give your side of view. So, I mean, what Sushant says is absolutely brilliant. They should not have reacted. Unfortunately, India has reacted and succumbed to the pressure.
Yes.
They have sat their own.
Can I come in, please?
I completely agree with you. I'm moving on now, viewers. Yes, we've now, look, we are not going to resolve this because none of you, neither Mr. Jindal nor, Mr. Poonawalla, etc., want to take a position tonight which is emphatic against the OIC. And I understand that. But we need to move on, viewers, because there has been a dramatic development in the Union capital. The Enforcement Directorate has made a stunning recovery. The central agency claims that it has seized 2.85 crores in total, 133 gold coins and gold bars from the residence of the aides of Satyendra Jain. This has led to an all-out war with the AAP claiming it is nothing but a blatant attempt to frame the Delhi minister. He's a Delhi health minister. Leading AAP's defense, Kejriwal went after Modi Sarkar, claiming that if the agencies are with the center, then God is with them. Listen to the war of words as it has erupted between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party on the back of this recovery. Watch.
तो आप पहुंच गए सत्येंद्र जैन के घर पे, उनके पत्नी को, उनके परिवार को, उनके बच्चों को वहां अपमानित करने का काम कर रहे हैं और आप सारे लोग जानते हैं ये पहला मौका नहीं है। सीबीआई का, ईडी का, आईटी का छापा सत्येंद्र जैन के घर पे बहुत बार पड़ चुका है, पहले भी पड़ चुका है, लेकिन कभी कुछ हासिल नहीं हुआ, कभी कुछ नहीं मिला।
इंडियन करेंसी टोटलिंग टू रुपीज 2,79,200 was also recovered during the search. However, the same was not seized. अगर वो पैसा भी अनअकाउंटेड होता तो ईडी उसको भी सीज करती। खोदा पहाड़ निकला चूहा वो भी मरा हुआ। तो इज्जत बचाने के लिए भाजपाइयों ने झूठ फैलाना शुरू कर दिया। ये करोड़ रुपए मिल गए, वो करोड़ रुपए मिल गए, इतना सोना मिल गया।
जो ईडी कह रही है कि कैश बरामद हुआ, सोना बरामद हुआ, किसी के घर से बरामद हुआ, वो कौन है, उसका सत्येंद्र जैन जी से कोई संबंध भी है कि नहीं, ये तो आप किसी को भी करीबी बता देंगे।
Well, you heard that, viewers, the face-off. Let's go straight across now to the BJP as well as the supporter of the Aam Aadmi Party, Advocate Himanshu Goswami and Akashdeep Muni. Mr. Poonawalla, the AAP says it has a copy of the Panchnama. That Panchnama has been doing the rounds. And it says that raids were conducted on the Aam Aadmi Party's Satyendra Jain's residence when he was not there. Only his family members were there, and that also the ladies in his family, which shows how craven the ED was, and goes on to say that only 2 odd lakh rupees were recovered, and even those were not confiscated, which shows that there's just no case. How do you respond to this, Mr. Poonawalla?
You know, the Aam Aadmi Party and its Jhootnama never gets over. First of all, these recoveries were made not just from Satyendra Jain's location, but also from those other people who are participants with him in this entire money laundering exercise, which has been confirmed that in at least 8 companies, Ankush Jain, Vaibhav Jain and others are part of that. And in Para 30 of the Delhi High Court 2019 order, there is a finding of a court of law that the money that was being shown as undisclosed income by Ankush Jain and Vaibhav Jain was indeed not undisclosed income, but was actually accommodation and hawala entries that was facilitated on the instruction of Satyendra Jain. In fact, based on all of this and this 2019 order, the court has remanded Mr. Jain for 10 days ED custody. Is the court vindictive? Is the court's finding in this case vindictive or based on fakery? Why hasn't it been contradicted by any of these people? Thirdly, the ED has last month taken seizure of 4.81 crores of assets of Mr. Satyendra Jain. Was that also an act of vendetta because no court of law has declared it as such? The fact of the matter is that Aam Aadmi Party is an expert at ABCD. A for advertising, B for bhashtachar, C for cover-up, and D for deviation and diversion. We asked them 10 questions, which was put forward by Smriti Irani ji. I am adding a few more questions. Today, Mr. Jain himself and his family is not denying that he is linked with these people in whose house or location this money and all of this other things have been discovered and recovered. But Atishi Marlena, who last time also the Aam Aadmi Party lied that the CBI had filed a closure report in the case of disproportionate assets. Well, the CBI has actually filed a charge sheet in that matter, not a closure report. So these are the lies they keep on saying. They must get the gold medal, not a Padma Vibhushan, a gold medal for Ghotala, because this is not the only Ghotala they've been doing. As you can see, whether it's Delhi Jal Board scam, whether it is bus scam, whether it is the scam of giving the accounts to the Lokayukt and therefore not appointing the Lokayukt for over a year, they have scams galore, and every time they play victimhood card. They play this victimhood card even in the Jitendra Tomar case. You remember, Rahul Shivshankar, when you were showing about Jitendra Tomar, they said Jitendra Tomar kattar imandar hai. And then when it came out that he had farzi degree and corruption, they had to do a U-turn on that. Now my only question is, when your health minister has become Hawalat minister both in Punjab and in Delhi, you take action on one Hawalat minister, why not on the other? I have been told that the 200 bighas of land that was bought from this undisclosed income through these shell companies perhaps may have more stakeholders in this corruption, and therefore they can't take action. In one place resignation, in the other place hesitation. ऐसा लगता है दाल काला नहीं, पूरी दाल ही काली है.
Well, Shardar Poonawalla making the point in reaction to the fact that the Aam Aadmi Party is talking about a Panchnama, saying that cash was recovered from Ram Prakash Jeweler, 2.23 crores, from Vaibhav Jain, 41.5 lakhs, from GS Matharu, 20 lakhs, gold coins 133 from Vaibhav Jain. So don't selectively quote just the Panchnama. Mr. Muni, that's what is being said, and therefore the BJP says when you have physical evidence of graft, how can you deny it?
Rahul, you know, it is a very curious case of lies. I'll just give you certain examples. You remember during the Kashmiri Pandits case when a fake press release was doing the rounds and ultimately it was proven to be fake? Do you remember that during the Ansar case in the Delhi riots, who was said to be an Aam Aadmi Party person, and ultimately it was found to be belonging to BJP? And the third case today, in your show only at 6 o'clock, the person from BJP was saying that Satyendra Jain, whom 2 crore and 2.8 crore was found, and ultimately later on it was found that it was not from the premises from Satyendra Jain, it was premises from others also. As per the ED's tweet on Twitter, ultimately you will find that these all, you know, all the lies that have been made by my fellow panelists, this all was full of lies.
Can I just come in for 10 seconds, Rahul?
Okay. Mr. Poonawalla, yes.
Rahul, I am ready to stake my political career on your show. I am holding with me para 30 of Delhi High Court order, page number 16, 2019. I just want to ask one question. Mr. Kejriwal, because you have said you have seen the documents that based on which you've given a clean chit, put those documents in public domain and please let us know whether you saw this para 30, page 16 of 18. One second. Rahul, please, Rahul. He's not even the official spokesperson. Rahul, I plead your indulgence.
Okay, one second. Mr. Muni, he didn't interrupt you. One second. He didn't interrupt you and you asked him a question, so he's responding to you. Listen to the response. And after that, you can rebut. No problems. I'm
coming to that.
Yeah.
Rahul, I am saying that if this High Court order is a lie, I will resign. If it is a truth, Mr. Kejriwal resigns. Has he seen this order and then given a clean chit to Mr. Jain? Or has he not seen this order? What are those documents? A, put it in public domain, give it to Rahul Shivshankar on time. Now, point number 2. Sir, anybody who does Hawala and Benami does not keep the money under his bed. He obviously does it through some people who I would like to call mules that he likes to use. Now, one of these mules are the people who've been named in this ED press release as well. They have been confirmed by the High Court order that those people's undisclosed income was actually the entries done by Mr. Satyendra Jain. The High Court has confirmed this fact. Today you can come and say Satyendra Jain के घर से कुछ नहीं मिला, but the fact is Satyendra Jain के जो पूरा laundering racket है, उनके यहाँ से तो बरामद हुआ है. Can you explain that? Mr. Jain is not denying his links with these people. His wife is admittedly part of a company.
Okay, respond. Mr. Muni, respond to Shahzad Poonawalla. Let him respond now. Shahzad Poonawalla, let him respond, please. Let him respond.
पूनावाला जी ने आज सबके सामने ये एक्नॉलेज तो किया कि सत्येंद्र जैन जी के घर से कुछ नहीं मिला क्योंकि उनके ही people from his own party.
मैंने कुछ नहीं एक्नॉलेज किया. कहां से आप एक्नॉलेजमेंट ले रहे हैं?
आपने एक्नॉलेज किया, अभी एक्नॉलेज किया कि नहीं उनके घर से कुछ नहीं मिला.
कहां एक्नॉलेज?
No, Mr. Muni, one second. What is the substantive point you're making? I think Shahzad Poonawalla says that people who, and I'm just paraphrasing him, that people who indulge in hawala transactions are hardly likely to be keeping the money under their mattress unless they are Sukhram. Because Sukhram messed it up. People learned back then. पैसे गद्दे के नीचे नहीं रखने चाहिए क्योंकि पकड़े जाएंगे. सुखराम जी ने सबको.
जी के पास कोई प्रूफ है इसका?
So I'm only asking you, Muni Saab, I'm only asking you. There is a High Court order which is constantly used as a reference point. Are you going to deny the existence of this High Court order? And if you believe it's immaterial to the conversation, tell me why it's immaterial.
See, I'll not comment on the High Court order because I have to go through all the paras, all the words of the High Court order.
Okay.
Because
let me bring in Advocate Himanshu Goswami. Advocate Saab, there is a High Court order that the BJP constantly refers to. First, Smriti Irani referred to it. Now, Shahzad Poonawalla is flashing it in our faces. Is this an admission of culpability or not?
So, Rahul, first of all, I'd like to point out that, since the matter is currently sub judice, it does not behove any one of us in this debate to go into the merits of the High Court order or to, pontificate on that. But, as a lawyer and as a concerned citizen of this country, I just want to make one very pertinent point here. We have a situation here where a person who was, against whom an FIR was filed over 8 years ago, who's been consistently cooperating with the investigative agencies. There was no coercive action taken against him because there was no material evidence on record. Suddenly he gets named as the party in charge of Himachal Pradesh. There is a groundswell of support in favor of this gentleman in Himachal Pradesh. And all of a sudden, certain quote unquote ADs of this person are supposed to have unaccounted wealth. And this gentleman gets hauled in. Now, allow me 10 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to draw a parallel. The law has to be applied equally to everybody in this country. It cannot be piecemeal.
Sure.
I would like to ask Mr. Poonawalla, who's a person who I immensely respect, is that what happens in the case of Mr. Ishwarappa? Here we have a situation where the person has been accused of a heinous crime of, not only just accepting humongous amounts in bribe, but effectively being a person who's named in the suicide note of one very unfortunate contractor.
Sure.
Mr. Poonawalla is a very accomplished lawyer, so I need not remind him of the provisions of Article 32 of the Evidence Act, which is a dying declaration. Despite that, this gentleman roams free today. He's not even expelled from the primary membership of the party.
Okay, so you're saying that the law is selectively applied by, or the ED is selectively used or agencies are selectively used. That's the crux of your point, right?
That's apparent on the face of it.
So let me quickly bring in Mr. Poonawalla to respond. I don't have much time. Mr. Poonawalla, the ED had questioned Mr. Jain way back in 2018. What has taken it 4 years to proceed against him after that? And what about the selectivity charge, that you use it only against opposition leaders, the ED and other agencies?
First, First of all, the learned lawyer said that it doesn't behove anyone to comment on a sub judice matter. Then why is the CM of Delhi giving a clean check to a person who has been remanded to custody by a court of law? And surely my learned friend won't say that the courts of this country are selective. There is a High Court finding which has not been controverted. There is an ED remand given by the courts that has not been controverted. No relief has come through either on the attachment order or on any other proceedings. And therefore the courts in this country, at least, you will have faith on them that they will not be playing part of vendetta politics. So you should trust them. And thirdly, I want to ask one question. In 8 years, why didn't you or talented lawyers like you go and give a relief to Satyendra Jain from the court of law, saying that look, Shehzad Poonawalla and Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, such bad people, they are only harassing us. Please give us relief. The courts would have certainly indulged you. And finally, Rahul, nobody's answering about this question of the court order. The court has clearly said that there are 8 companies where these 2 petitioners, Jains, were part of it, and those people were actually showing income which was belonging to Mr. Jain, which was actually routed through Hawala entries.
There are obviously 2 sides to every story, viewers. One way out of it, of course, is to take the moral high ground. L.K. Advani did it, but that was at another time and another day. The Jain Hawala diaries, where he stepped away from office and said that when I'm proven innocent, I will come right back in. That's one model. The other one, of course, is to quickly prove your innocence while you're still in office. Viewers, at the end of the day, it comes down to what choices you make. I'll leave it at that. News are coming up.
Times now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए, और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते और ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था, और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ, ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, लेकिन कोई काम आपका तय ना किया। कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ अपमान। और हमारे परिवार में और हमारे कई साथी कहते हैं कि अगर जहां सम्मान ना हो वहां अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो हार्दिक जी, ये सब आपको पहले से पता नहीं था? क्योंकि 2017 आप पॉलिटिक्स में आए थे और 2019 का चुनाव हुआ था, आप बहुत जगह साथ साथ घूमे थे, क्योंकि आपने फॉर्मली कांग्रेस पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी। और हमेशा से लोग यही कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओन्ड बाय एक गांधी परिवार है। तो आपको पहले ये पता नहीं था, या अंदर जाके कुछ ऐसा पता चला जो आप चौंक गए और इतना सरप्राइज हो गए?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं 2019 में पार्टी ज्वाइन किया था। 2015 से लेकर 2019 तक मैं इंडिपेंडेंट रहा, जनता की आंदोलन किए, जनता की सेवा की, और हमारे आंदोलन के कारण अनेक योजना गुजरात के लोगों को मिली। कांग्रेस में ज्वाइन होने का रीजन ये था कि हमें ऐसा था कि यार हमारा कोई पॉलिटिकल फैमिली है नहीं, पॉलिटिकल परिवार नहीं है, चलो राहुल गांधी जी हमें प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, इसीलिए हम पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ज्वाइन किया। पहले दिन से जो विपरीत परिस्थिति हमारे साथ होती थी, हर दिन हर मुद्दे को लेकर हम राहुल जी को मुद्दा बताते रहते कि आज इन लोगों ने ये किया है, आप थोड़ा देखिएगा। कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कोई जवाब नहीं। लगातार हम अपनी परेशानी पार्टी के भीतर जो थी वो राहुल जी तक पहुंचाई, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी स्टैंड नहीं लिया। तो हम जो उस भरोसे से आए थे, उस भरोसा तो हमें काम करने नहीं दे रहा था, वो तो प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर रहा था। बात रही जब कोई लीडर दिल्ली से गुजरात आता है तो उसकी जिम्मेवारी होती है कि यार जो लीडर से यहाँ के स्टेट के, उन सबसे 1 by 1 मिल लिया जाए। कभी भी 1 by 1 मिलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया, या ना 1 by 1 मिलने का काम किया। गुजरात में 2000
व्यूअर्स,
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has inaugurated National Tribal Research Institute in Delhi as part of the celebrations of the Azadi Ka Amrit Festival. Addressing at the event, Union Minister said that such institutions play a vital role in nation building. Congress President Sonia Gandhi is unlikely to appear before the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the National Herald case. As per party sources, Sonia is down with COVID-19 and is yet to recover. Days after holding a protest rally against the centre over targeted killing of Kashmiri Hindus, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has sought appointment with Union Home Minister Amit Shah to discuss the problems in view of the same.
Times now. Action begins here.
For the last 2 years, the world has been relentlessly fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. As the countries across the globe prioritize vaccinations to keep the next wave of COVID at bay, India also rolled out precautionary jabs this year to achieve herd immunity against the virus. While COVID has not risen substantially in India in the last few months, the pandemic has not yet faded. India has remained on guard, but vaccination among children remains low and is significantly less talked about.
Immunizing the kids will not only check the spread of the asymptomatic infections, who can act as silent hosts for the virus, and which will lead to again spread in the society, but again it can also mitigate the severity, the intensity of the infection in children. Now that the schools have reopened, it is very important that the children are vaccinated. A lot of parents are still hesitant about sending the children to school, but definitely children should no longer stay at home. They should definitely go to school. And so to vaccinate them, by vaccinating them, we can allay this fear in the parents' mind. Almost 40% of pediatric deaths below the age of 20 years were in the age group of 0 to 9 years. Majority of infection in children are asymptomatic infection. Almost 70 to 80% of children.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Enforcement Directorate's crackdown on Delhi former Minister Satyendra Jain has been a matter of heated political debate for the last few weeks. The agency is joining the dots and tracking down all of Jain's associates to unravel the web that they have accused Jain of. In that endeavor, the enforcement agency yesterday raided key associates of the Aam Aadmi Party Mantri and has stated that it recovered cash and gold from these associates. To be specific, 2.85 crore in cash, 1.8 kilograms in gold and 133 gold coins have been recovered, according to a press release issued by the Enforcement Directorate. And that's led to an all-out war with the Aam Aadmi Party claiming it is nothing but a blatant attempt to frame the Delhi minister and the Aam Aadmi Party. While the Enforcement Directorate in its Panchnama has claimed that 2.7 lakh currency was the only currency recovered from Satyendra Jain, and even that was not seized. The Aam Aadmi Party says, how did 2.7 lakh turn into 2.8 crore as being claimed now by the ED? In the ED's press release, the agency has said that the 2.7 lakh in cash was not seized by them. The Aam Aadmi Party has said that it proves the money is accounted for and not ill-gotten. Another claim in the ED Panchnama is that the search was conducted in a peaceful manner and recoveries were made. Aam Aadmi Party says that the agency is using a jeweler to frame Satyendra Jain, and that it is not a surprise that you would find some amount of gold at a jeweler's residence. That has set the stage for a political fireworks between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Listen in. Now, Satyendra Jain was arrested on the 30th of May. Ever since, the BJP, including senior cabinet ministers, have put Arvind Kejriwal on a probity test. Like Union Minister Smriti Irani, who posed 10 questions to the Delhi Chief Minister in a news conference recently while tagging him a Gaddar, Smriti Irani asked if Mr. Kejriwal was in the know about the alleged money laundering, if the Aam Aadmi Party did or did not regularize unauthorized colonies where Jain purchased land, and why Mr. Kejriwal was giving patronage to those who deceived the treasury. The Aam Aadmi Party, on the other hand, has stood steadfast behind its ministers, dismissing the entire case as completely fake. They're confident that there will not be a shred of evidence against the man who revolutionized the healthcare system in Delhi. And Arvind Kejriwal today actually refuted the Gaddar claim by demanding a Padma award for his minister. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard all the charges. So I ask the legitimate question on the NewsHour tonight. Can the ED gold seizure be proved in a court of law? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And taking on Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP tonight, will be Atishi, MLA and spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Atishi, very clearly the press release of the Enforcement Directorate clearly points out that there are recoveries that have been made from associates. It doesn't say Satyendra Jain, but associates as well, and it mentions the names of Ankush Jain, Vaibhav Jain, Naveen Jain, Siddharth Jain, and also mentions a jeweler called Ram Prakash Jewelers. I want to ask you, the Aam Aadmi Party has refuted the claim that they don't even know the jewelers that have been named. Is it not true that Ankush Jain and Vaibhav Jain, against whom there was a case in 2019 in the Delhi High Court, both Ankush Jain and Vaibhav Jain have been stated, and they have been called as Benamis of Satyendra Jain, and these are the same people. The Benamis of Satyendra Jain is mentioned right here, Benami Dar, and these entries and the capital premium belong to Mr. Satyendra Jain is what is stated in the Delhi High Court of New Delhi on the 21st of August 2019, and this is by Justice Murlidhar and Justice Talwant Singh that the order is given. Now these are the same gentlemen, Ankush Jain and Vaibhav Jain, who are also, along with family members of Mr. Satyendra Jain, directors on several companies, and they also happen to be directors on this board of this company, which is the jewelers company. How can you say that there's nothing common between these associates when there is a trail that has been shown through various documents?
Navika, first of all, whoever these Ankush Jain, Vaibhav Jain, Naveen Jain, and who have unaccounted for wealth, who have unaccounted for gold, whichever agency has found this gold, whichever agency has found this wealth should file cases against them, should prosecute them and send them to jail if they had violated the law of the land. However, the liability of the unaccounted for wealth owned by anyone does not lie with Mr. Satyendra Jain. I have no idea since what time a press release has become a legal and an official document, or a tweet by the Enforcement Directorate has become a legal or an official document. The only official document that I have seen all day is the Panchnama or the seizure document by the Enforcement Directorate at the residence of Mr. Satyendra Jain. This Panchnama, this seizure document very clearly says that only 2,89,000 rupees in cash were found at the residence of Satyendra Jain and Poonam Jain, and this 2,89,000 has not been seized. Why would ED not seize it? Because this is accounted for wealth. So therefore, let us be clear that ED's own raid has shown that there was no unaccounted for wealth at Satyendra Jain's official residence or Satyendra Jain's private residence. Whoever has unaccounted for wealth, file cases against them, prosecute them, send them to jail, but stop this witch hunt of Satyendra Jain against him, whom you have been carrying out this case for 8 years. CBI is investigating for 8 years, Income Tax is investigating for 8 years, Enforcement Director is investigating for 8 years. In 2018, you summoned him 7-8 times, asked for all his documents, all his accounts, and then after that, total silence. All of a sudden, when Aam Aadmi Party starts expanding nationally, a case which was in cold storage is brought about, and all of a sudden, without new evidence, without new witnesses, Satyendra Jain needs to be arrested. Enforcement Directorate themselves say in court that Satyendra Jain is not an accused. There is no FIR against Satyendra Jain. The only reason for holding him in custody is to question them. Then is this not a witch hunt? It is very clear it is a political witch hunt by the Bharatiya Janata Party.
All right. Let me get Gaurav Bhatia to answer all of those charges made by Atishi ji.
Navika, first of all, you know, Atishi said that press release is not a legal document. But a judgment given by Arvind Kejriwal saying that I acquit Satyendra Jain kattar imandar hai, Padma Bhushan do, is a legal document, Navika ji. It's a judgment of the court. अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के न्यायालय ने कह दिया, खाता ना बही, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी जो कहें वही सही. चलिए, ये तो एक बात हुई. But I will tell you a few facts that all viewers should know. A court of our country under the Constitution, when Satyendra Jain was produced for corruption under the Money Laundering Act, decided to give a 10-day ED remand. Not a bail, but an ED remand for 10 days. So Arvind Kejriwal ji has faith in the court of the country. Second, in this very case, the press release says that 4.81 crore belonging to companies beneficially owned and controlled by Satyendra Kumar Jain. The ED had provisionally attached properties on 31st of March 2022. So now my first question to Atishi ji would be that why is it that Satyendra Jain did not get bail in the first place? Second, why did Satyendra Jain not move the High Court or the Supreme Court and get the case quashed because political vendetta is a valid ground? And third, is there any order she is armed with which says that this property that has been attached almost 2.5 months ago is illegal, therefore the ED did something wrong? The answer is no. My next point is about the dirty, cheap, petty politics that Arvind Kejriwal does. You know, two state governments of Aam Aadmi Party, one in Punjab, one in Delhi, two health ministers chosen by Arvind Kejriwal, two health ministers both arrested, two health ministers both arrested on corruption charges, Navika, but one was sacked. Why is Satinder Jain enjoying the political patronage? Why is he not being sacked is a question that the people of the country are asking. And let me just say one thing. We should have faith in the investigating agency क्योंकि ये कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार नहीं है. Now it is BJP government, zero tolerance for corruption, and the investigating agencies are doing their job. And my challenge to her is, show me one judgment of the Supreme Court or the High Court where the High Court or the Supreme Court has reprimanded the investigating agency, CBI,
well,
ED,
so let me ask Atishi ji. The court has given remand to the Enforcement Directorate. The fact is, in March itself this year, there was property that was confiscated, provisionally attached as the legal terminology goes. You're right, the Panchnama shows 2,079 lakh rupees and 200, which was not seized. You're right about that. But the fact is that the man is in jail. And I think the courts are seized of the matter. The second question is, there is a CBI charge sheet filed in 2017 or 2018, which exists. That hasn't been quashed. You haven't approached a higher court. The fact is that on this case, you haven't gone for bail to a higher court. Normally, people do that. And number three, you say that Satyendra Jain does not know Ankush and Vaibhav Jain. Do whatever you have to. Well, I want to ask you, how can you answer on the part of another individual, Mr. Satyendra Jain, whether he knows these people or not? Because common sense would tell us that if his wife is on some boards, 8 companies on directors' list on the board of same companies with these two gentlemen, they would be known to the family. That would be the normal conclusion people would come to. Can you deny that?
Okay, Navika, I'll answer all of the questions and the points, even the points raised by Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. First of all, he said that he has faith in the investigating agencies. Even I have faith in the investigating agencies. I have faith in the fact that the BJP central government is manipulating its investigating agencies to do a witch hunt against Aam Aadmi Party, and that is the reason they have filed 54 cases against 54 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs. I have faith in the BJP central government's investigating agencies because I've seen the raids they have done at the office of Delhi Chief Minister, at the home of Delhi Chief Minister, at the home of Mr. Manish Sisodia, at the home of Mr. Kailash Gehlot, of how one of the investigating, how Delhi police went all the way to Ahmedabad, dragged an MLA back from there, later had no charges against him, was told off by the court of law, arrested another of our MLAs, Dinesh Mohonia, in the middle of a press conference. Again, charges had to be dropped because the court said that there is no evidence. In another matter recently, on which all of your channels had pronounced Satyendra Jain guilty regarding some PWD procurement, CBI has closed a 4-year-old case. Why? Because no evidence. So yes, even I have faith in the central government's agencies that they are puppets in the hand of the Bharatiya Janata Party, who is misusing them because they are scared of Aam Aadmi Party. Number one. Number two, you talk about property being seized. Whose property is that? It's not Satyendra Jain's property. If the property of some company is seized, let the investigation happen. If someone has unaccounted for wealth, whoever they may be, XYZ, investigate that, prosecute them, send them to jail. But on what basis are you alleging that it is Satyendra Jain who has been pronounced guilty? Because finally the judgment has been passed by Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, the judgment has been passed by all channels. When you call them as aides, What is the link that has been shown that money has gone from X to Y to Z? What have these agencies, for 8 years, CBI has not been able to prove anything. For 8 years, Income Tax Department has not been able to prove anything. For 8 years, Enforcement Directorate is not able to prove anything. And then Enforcement Directorate says in court that no, Satyendra Jain is not an accused in this matter. There is no FIR against Satyendra Jain. They themselves say that. And yet, the court of Gaurav Bhatia, the court of Bharatiya Janata Party, the court of the press releases already says that Satyendra Jain is guilty. This is just a political witch hunt because Aam Aadmi Party is now growing all across the country.
Well, Gaurav Bhatia, sharp charges being made against you and your party and the investigation agencies. Respond to every charge made by Atishi ji.
Navika, not sharp, very, very frivolous, and they do not even warrant a response. In the court of law, they will not stand, and let me tell you why. First of all, what does the Enforcement Directorate say? I would like to read that from the press release because otherwise, you know, the proceeding is before the court. I am not privy to it. But why is Satyendra Jain responsible? One, as you rightly said, CBI registered a case in 2017, charge sheet filed in 2018. So let's do the counting. 8 years. Please ask her to be quiet. Navika, ask her to be quiet. They should show some decency and manners on your channel. They should show some manners and decency.
Her question, Gaurav Bhatia, maybe you can include that so is why are you using the press release as a legal document? So respond.
Yes. Navika, I will respond one by one. First of all, this is basic understanding that when a case is being investigated, not all details of the case and investigation and document and their veracity, their legality is presented by the ED. Only a gist is provided for the person to know that ED is doing this job and this is the reason. But the court looks into the legality, the court looks into the veracity, the evidential value of those. So I am only placing my arguments on the basis of the facts that are there. And what are the facts? The argument made is Satyendra Jain innocent hai, Satyendra Jain kahan se aaye? So I am just reading from the press release. It says, Directorate of Enforcement has conducted a search operation on 6th of June 2022. PMLA 2002 at the premises of Satyendra Kumar Jain / Poonam Jain and his accomplices and other persons, now this is important, who had either directly or indirectly assisted or participated in the processes of money laundering, and namely then all the companies. But there isn't enough time, so I'm not getting into it. Second, it clearly says during the search, various incriminating documents and digital records. Can she be quiet? Navika, this is very unfair. Very unfair, believe me. This is very you may give my time to her. I think she's on a very weak wicket. Please give her my time. Give her my time.
No, Gaurav Bhatia.
You know nothing about law, so don't argue with me and don't be.
She's asking that you're making all of these charges. Then you can't say that there isn't enough time. You can take time and you can prove the charges that are being made. But before I get to that, Atishi ji, the question will be that just a few days ago, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal.
Can I complete myself? No, Navika, this is unfair.
Okay.
Can I complete myself first, please?
Complete your point.
I think that would be fair on your part.
Yes.
Please.
All right, complete your point.
Yes. So Navika, it is not Gaurav Bhatia, the spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, that has to prove anything. It is the ED, the lawyers within the court that have to prove the case. And that is why I'm saying the prima facie material before the court has a lot of value. And Satyendra Jain has been given on ED custody now for 10 days. Next point I want to ask her, Purnima Jain. Purnima Jain, I hope Satyendra Jain has not disowned Purnima Jain.
Poonam Jain.
Purnima Jain also is charge sheeted in the CBI case. Poonam Jain. I stand corrected. Poonam Jain. Poonam Jain is related to Satyendra Jain. Even she is charge sheeted in the CBI case, and plus You know, even right now, her name has been mentioned. So all these pleas have to be taken in the court. And last but not the least, the Delhi High Court judgment. What does it say in the IT matter? It clearly says, and I'm just reading one line, it says that ye jo benami property hai na, they belong to Mr. Satinder Kumar Jain. So there is a finding in place. He might not be a party, but there is a finding. Satinder Kumar Jain owned the benami properties. There is enough material. The case should go on. And good luck to Arvind Kejriwal. I'm sure when Satinder Jain will remain behind bars, maybe Arvind Kejriwal will also join him there.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but Atishi ji, right here in this Delhi High Court judgment by Justice Muralidhar and Justice Talwant Singh, it's clearly mentioned in point number 30 that the petitioners have themselves enclosed a copy of the order that has been passed by the Income Tax Department that the Benami Dar of this is Ankush and Vaibhav Jain, and all the accommodation entries in the garb of share capital premium in fact belong to Mr. Satendra Jain. And this is in the inclusions, and it has dismissed the case of the disassociation by Ankush and Vaibhav Jain. So very clearly the Delhi High Court is convinced that there is a connection of the entries, financial entries that are being made by Vaibhav Jain and Ankush Jain are on account of money transactions that belong to Satinder Kumar Jain. That's question number one. And number two, when Mr. Arvind Kejriwal just a few days ago actually lauded the Chief Minister of Punjab, Mr. Maan, that he expelled a minister who was convicted of wrongdoing and of corruption charges, why is the Aam Aadmi Party going out of its way to first claim they know or don't know individuals? Because that is a question only Mr. Satendra Jain can answer. Does he know Vaibhav Jain or Ankush Jain? And are these people directors on 8 companies with his wife or not? And what transactions happened there? Why is the Aam Aadmi Party taking cudgels on his behalf? And why is the party not removing the minister? Because it's appropriate when the man is in jail.
Navika, first of all, Aam Aadmi Party is the only party that is not scared of taking action against its leaders when we find that they are corrupt. In the case of 2015, when Arvind Kejriwal expelled a minister from his cabinet, the evidence was not even public. The evidence was only available within the party and within the leadership of the party. In the case of Punjab, where a minister was expelled and the Punjab government themselves got the police to file a case against him, again the evidence was not public. It was not with the police, it was not with the media, but Aam Aadmi Party was not scared to take action against a corrupt leader and a corrupt minister. But Satendra Jain is not corrupt. Satendra Jain is honest. And that is the reason why, despite 8 years of investigation by CBI, by Enforcement Directorate, by Income Tax, they have not been able to find anything against him. And you mark my word that let this case go through. It might take a short time, it might take a long time, but Satendra Jain will be proved innocent, Satendra Jain will come out honest, and the whole country will know the kind of witch hunt that the Modi government is doing, that the central government is doing, that it's using all its agencies against its political opponents because they are scared of how Aam Aadmi Party is growing throughout the country.
Well, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, that's a charge that has been made by several opposition parties against your government. And that begins with West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, her nephew. It begins with Mr. P. Chidambaram, his son, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, several people that Atishi mentioned from the Aam Aadmi Party. Why is it that there are hardly any convictions? Why is it that all of these cases are hanging fire, starting from Robert Vadra downwards to the latest case of Mr. Satendra Jain? That's an allegation every political party has made against you.
Okay. So, to put it in 2 words, the charge is of political vendetta. and for the benefit of the viewers, let me say this, that the investigation filing of the charge sheet till that time is the job of the investigating agency, and government also plays a supervisory role only. But after the charge sheet is filed and charges are framed, then it is for the judiciary to take up the case. It could be a day-to-day basis case, but because of the backlog, it takes time in deciding a trial. But I will give you an instance. P. Chidambaram, charge sheet has been filed by the CBI. Huda, ex-CM, Congress party charge sheet has been filed. Sonia Gandhi is out on bail. The matter has not been quashed by any court. Rahul Gandhi out on bail. Robert Vadra out on anticipatory bail. Now I challenge Atishi ji, when her turn comes, she should tell the viewers one Supreme Court or High Court judgment where the investigating agency, especially the CBI and ED, they have been reprimanded and the case has been quashed in case of a political leader being charged. Second, how is it that Atishi sits here and says that no, Satyendra Jain has done nothing wrong? Is she above the courts of the country? The court, in its wisdom, decided to not grant him bail and remand him on in custody for 10 days. And third, she is ranting again and again at least 5 times on your program. 8 years, 8 saal, kya hua, 8 saal, 8 saal. Let me tell her with some facts. This case, FIR was registered on 24th of August 2017. 17 से गिनते हैं, ठीक है? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 5.5 years approximately. तो ये 8 years कहाँ से आया? चाची, बीच में नहीं बोलिए, बीच में मत बोलिए, मैडम बीच में मत बोलिए। फिर बीच में बोल रही है, आपको प्रॉब्लम क्या है आतिशी जी? आप घबरा क्यों जाती है? मैडम आप घबराती क्यों हैं? आप घबराती क्यों हैं?
But Atishi, I want clarification on 2 points. One, you said the CBI case has been shut.
फाइल हुई 2018 में.
Exactly, and the case is shut by the CBI. That's not true. That's not true, Atishi ji, because there is a charge sheet by the CBI filed in 2018. And second question is that when you talk about these jewelers and no connection between Satyendra Jain, is it again a coincidence that the same people, Ankush Jain, Vaibhav Jain, who are part of the Delhi High Court order, part of boards of 8 companies where Mr. Jain's wife was there, or the position that he vacated when he came into public life, both of these people are there in each of these board positions and also in this jewelers company. And is that the reason why the Enforcement Directorate has called them people connected with Satyendra Jain? And it's a matter of investigation and proving in court. How can you give the clean chit?
You know, you're talking about connections. Why doesn't the Enforcement Directorate investigate the case of Assam's Chief Minister Hemant Biswa Sharma, when RTI documents have shown that when he was a health minister, he gave tenders for PPE kits to companies belonging to his wife. RTI documents of that are out in the public, that there is a gross violation of any kind of rule of law. And why is it that the Enforcement Directorate does not take cognizance of the matter? How is it that Satyendra Jain, whose house is found with 2,79,000 rupees, as per the official documents of the ED puts out a press release and says crores of rupees were found. But when their own chief minister, RTIs, come out that Hemant Biswa Sharma gave tenders to companies that belong to his wife, that had never done any manufacturing of
30 seconds, respond to Atishi's charge. 30 seconds to you.
For PPE kits. Why? It is very clear it is a political witch hunt.
Take care. I will respond, please. First of all, I think Hemant ji, being a very honest chief minister, himself has responded. If my friend would have cared to read his tweet, not a rupee was ever paid to the company owned by Hemant ji's wife. That is my understanding. And second, he has also said that Aam Aadmi Party should be ready to face defamation. So Satyendra Jain, if he feels he's... Please, can I complete? Can I complete? I did not interrupt you. I don't know why you heckle. You think you become a very good speaker by heckling somebody?
That an order was
That's
given?
not the case.
So
my point... No, can she be quiet?
Are you denying
Navika, this
that
is
a work
disturbing.
order was
Believe
given
me. This
to
is not the
Hemant
way we
Biswa
argue,
Sharma's
please.
wife's company? Are you denying that?
Can she
Are you
be
denying
quiet?
that, Gaurav? Are you denying that a work order was given by Assam government to a company
this
that
is
is
shameless.
owned by
All right,
Hemant Biswa
Gaurav
Sharma's
Bhatia,
wife? Can you deny that?
I'm completely out of time on this debate, but Gaurav Bhatia, 10 seconds to you. You know, allegations, counter allegations can be made till the cows come home. The fact of the matter and the proof of the pudding will be when the case is proved in the court.
There is no counter allegation.
No, she made the counter allegation on Himanta.
I remember the... Yes, that's okay. Right. So they will have to face the defamation case. Himantji himself has said that. But let me make it very clear. Arvind Kejriwal's statement कि देश से गद्दारी है अगर कोई भ्रष्टाचारी है तो सबसे बड़ा कट्टर गद्दार अगर कोई है तो सत्येंद्र जैन है and they have not got any relief from the court. That is what I believe in. I don't believe in what Atishi says or Arvind Kejriwal says. I believe in what the court of the country
pudding
says.
is in the eating, and when this matter comes up before the courts on the 9th of June, because that's when the remand for Satyendra Jain ends, what will the court say? Can the case be proved in a court of law? Because that really is the real test of this entire investigation. The rest, as they say, is pure and simple politics. Thank you very much, Atishi ji and Gaurav Bhatia ji, for joining me on debate number 1. On the other side, of course, the jamboree of Rajya Sabha. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just 3 days away from Rajya Sabha elections. There are 16 seats across 4 states that are up for grabs because 41 members of parliament have been elected unopposed. But here's where it gets tricky for the stakeholders. At least in 3 states, the fight is extremely tight, which is why we are seeing all parties resorting to a template that they have perfected now. Round up your MLAs, keep them holed up far away from reach of your rivals and hope that there is no cross-voting on election day. In Maharashtra, the Mahavikas Aghadi government is hoping to win on 4 out of the 6 seats, which is why all Aghadi MLAs have been taken to a resort to ensure there is no horse trading. Series of meetings by the heads of governments, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, Sharad Pawar and senior leaders are being held. One such meeting is happening in Mumbai even as we speak. Smaller parties and independents hold key in the state, and they are being approached by their valuable support, like this one. Listen in.
हमारे एमएलए हम तीनों एमएलए बैठ के किसको देने का ये डिसाइड करेंगे और उस हिसाब से काम करेंगे। ग्रांटेड लिया है ऐसा नहीं है, ठीक हम पकड़ के चलते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो इसी हिसाब से कांग्रेस वाले हो, सेना वाले हो, बीजेपी वाले हो, उनका कैंडिडेट है अप्रोच करते सभी सीनियर से डिस्कस करके इलेक्शन के दिन 10 तारीख को वोट किसको देने का क्या करने का हम डिसाइड करते हैं।
Well, if that's Maharashtra, then in Haryana, the Congress party is in action and has been in action since last week. Their MLAs are being hosted by the party-run Chhattisgarh government till the 10th of June. Well, if you have a government, then use it to ferry to a resort in the state where you have a government, because it's a prestige issue for the Huda father-son duo in the state of Haryana. In Rajasthan, there are 4 seats and Congress is confident on at least 2 victories, but falls short of votes to push a 3rd one, which they've already decided to push for. What will happen if they don't have all the votes? Well, buying, selling, horse trading, all of this, and they're also facing backlash over ignoring state leaders and giving nominations to outsiders. Well, the BJP too in this state is extremely cautious, because they too, like the Congress, have herded their MLAs into resorts across the state. So why this rumble over Rajya Sabha elections? For one, no party has achieved absolute majority in the upper house for the last 40 years. So the BJP is vying for that position. The BJP's tally has dipped below 100, and percentage-wise, they are just a wee bit below the 50% mark currently. Cross that barrier and it'll be much easier to pass legislations through. That's exactly what the opposition is also hoping to stop from happening. And it's not just about the Rajya Sabha elections and a lot of ego battles that are at stake. It's also about the election or the selection of the president, which will happen in the month of July. And members in Rajya Sabha are extremely important to will that particular battle as well. So, hoarding netas is the last resort for the parties. That's the question that we are asking, because it's back to resort politics for all political parties. And who's paying for it? Janta? You and me? That's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate, Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP, Smita Prakash, editor ANI, Kishore Tiwari ji, leader of the Shiv Sena, Brij Mohan Srivastav, spokesperson of the NCP. But my first question goes to my friend Sanjay Jha, suspended Congress leader. And Sanjay Jha, from Rajasthan right to Maharashtra, everywhere there is a problem because Congress party fielding more candidates than it has votes, and when you get ambitious, resorts come in extremely handy. And that's what's happening in Rajasthan as in Haryana. And what's the best recipe? Take them, ferry them in private jets and private planes to states where you have governments, and then host them at taxpayers' money. That's the tamasha of Rajya Sabha elections this time around. Normally we saw that when any majority is not possible for formation of government in states, it happens. But this time Rajya Sabha election, daw pe laga hai sab kuch.
Well, Navika, it just goes to prove how Indian politics has become so corrupted, quintessentially at the core. And I think it's both a tragedy and a farce. You know, I can imagine all the people who are watching your program today, especially young people, you know, who have a dream of a good democracy and a great country. Imagine elected adult legislators have to be protected as if they are kindergarten children. And all because of what? Because of the threat of being poached, or there being some kind of investigating agency raid, or maybe, as you rightly said, horse trading or a commercial buyout. I mean, what really are we all about? I mean, you know, in my opinion,
haven't you forgotten the most important factor? Maybe they're just dissatisfied with the decision of the party, you know, to field a certain number of candidates, because your party members are writing, "Hamari bhakti mein thodi kami reh gayi."
Well, Navika, let me make one point there. If you look at the technical process of the Rajya Sabha election, if an MLA votes, he has to show who he has voted for to the authorized agent of the political party. So political party willy-nilly will get to know if there has been cross-voting. I think the real fear here is that will somebody be so brazen and blatant enough to cross over to the other side, either because they have got a terrible threat or they have been given the allurement of, you know, big ticket cash. Either way, I think it's a manifestation of a democracy that is very fragile and, in my opinion, tragically highly corrupted in its fundamentals. And this is not a good sign for the future of our country, because imagine today, Navika, that an MLA can be poached, purchased, and tomorrow coerced to vote for another party. As far as the Congress is concerned, I will give you one example.
Extremely high moral ground, Sanjay Jha. While I don't grudge you that, but Smita, you know, have they forgotten the fact that when their deputy chief minister Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan, you know, was upset with his own party and you know, walked away with a few MLAs, the same resort politics happened at that time. Who's corrupted? Is it only about Rajya Sabha elections? It's about, you know, infighting within the Congress party at that point in time. So why is Mr. Sanjay Jha taking such a high moral ground?
strangely enough, I find myself agreeing with Mr. Jha that it's across political spectrum that this is happening. I mean, these are the visuals are running in your channel of them doing yoga, watching a magic show, and they're not even able to, look up at the cameraman when he's shooting them. They're embarrassed with what's happening to them, being taken like a flock of sheep in a bus to a resort. How embarrassing! I mean, these are the people who occupy the benches which are supposed to elevate the debate in legislature. They're supposed to elect people into the upper house of the legislature, where rarefied lobbies of the legislature, of the parliament. And here, look at them. They are going to be traded like cattle. That's what is happening. That is this sorry state of affairs. I mean, it's now become such a spectacle, and it's been going on for decades. And the shameful thing is that all political parties agree that this is an embarrassment. It's a parade which is so wrong, and it reflects on the weak political structures that we have in our country. I mean, if we could bring about in this country an anti-defection law 30 years back, or more than 30 years back, then why can't we do something about changing this? Why can't our politicians do this? It's a deficiency of the system which everybody is exploiting. I mean, you listed the reason why it is important for the BJP to get its numbers. It's also important for the other political parties simply because they want their man as president. So it's also talk about opposition unity. And for the Congress party, or opposition unity at this stage, it could also spell a death knell, because it means an opposition unity minus the Congress.
Well, that is the big worry. And I want to ask Mr. Brijmohan Srivastav ji. Brijmohan Srivastav ji, same story in Maharashtra. Your government, taxpayers' money, and resort politics. Magic shows happening, so obviously Rajasthan Chief Minister Mr. Ashok Gehlot expects कि मैजिक शो दिखाने से कुछ ऐसा भी मैजिक हो जाएगा कि उनके सपोर्टेड लोग जीत जाएंगे राज्यसभा का चुनाव. पर वही तो हो रहा है, वही महाराष्ट्र में भी हो रहा है. You have more candidates fielded than the number of votes you have. That is an invitation, copybook invitation for horse trading. Aren't all parties guilty of that?
No, Navika ji, things is not like this. You see the arithmetic of the MLAs in Maharashtra. We are having 26. MVA is having 26 extra vote for the fourth candidate. Whereas, and we are having support of 21 independent MLAs as well as the different small parties MLAs. Whereas the BJP is having only 22 vote extra, and they are having support of 7, means 29. So you see, we are having 47 votes with us very clearly. But what's happened? BJP is not interested to accept this fact. And they started this horse trading in Maharashtra. Since last 1998, there was no election for Rajya Sabha. Why this time BJP is interested in this type of election? Because simply they feel that they are having sufficient resource of money, and the ED and the NIA and the income tax will not touch them. Therefore, they have they dare to for the horse trading, and it is going on. They have shown this same thing.
You think NIA is required now for members of parliament? NIA is a terror investigation agencies. They are required for members of parliament now?
They are using all central agencies. Navika ji, respond. Navika ji, I want to say they are using all central agencies to build the pressure on the elected members. Oh, this is the story. And what's happening?
I don't know. Are you saying they will put terror charges on you, or are you saying that there is some sort of a terror suspect now somewhere lurking in Maharashtra? Gaurav Bhatia, respond. Very severe charge being made against the BJP. Respond to Mr. Srivastava.
See, first of all, let's have a very rational debate. They talk about horse trading. So I would like to ask them, especially Sanjay Jha ji, if he would like to defend the Congress, that Rajasthan's case, Navika, BSP won 6 MLAs Was it muscle power? Was it threatening them? Was it money power, horse trading? That these 6 BSP MLAs decided to join the Congress. The speaker doesn't even know the constitution there, that the original political party has to merge. The Bahujan Samaj Party has not merged with the Congress. So this was horse trading and muscle power. Now coming to Maharashtra, the Mahavasuli Agadi needs to answer. These are the numbers for the benefit of the viewers. You need 42 votes to win the seat. Mahavasuli Agadi has 150 MLAs. For 4 seats that they have fielded their candidates, they need 168 votes. So they are short by 18 votes. How will they get these 18 votes? That means they will indulge in horse trading. So their intentions are clear. Third point, ये कहते हैं बीजेपी हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग करवा रही है महाराष्ट्र में, राजस्थान में. मैं एक बात पूछना चाहता हूं, गवर्नमेंट आपकी है, पुलिस आपकी है. Are you trying to say that this is a very defamatory statement? But I would like to ask them, their police is sitting idle. कितनों को पकड़ा है अभी तक आपने कैश के साथ या धमकाते हुए, country guns or anything? You may tell the viewers. And last but not the least, महावसूली अगाड़ी की तो ये कहानी है. समाजवादी पार्टी का भी MLA है महाराष्ट्र में, नाविका जी. he is also saying I am not supporting शिवसेना. क्यों? क्योंकि ऐसा कोई सगा नहीं जिसे इन्होंने ठगा नहीं. इलेक्शन हमारे साथ लड़े थे. महावसूली अगाड़ी में देवर सेटिंग टारगेट्स फॉर द कमिश्नर ऑफ पुलिस टू एक्सटॉर्ट 40 crore in a month. This is the kind of horse trading muscle power they show. But we are sure that the Bharatiya Janata Party, which has fielded maximum number of women, 6 out of 22, the OBC candidates, members of the SC/ST will prevail because the people of the country are with us and we have the numbers.
किशोर तिवारी जी, जवाब दीजिए. समाजवादी आप कह रहे हैं सारे MPs आपके साथ हैं, MLAs आपके साथ हैं. अगर सारे हैं तो फिर डर किस बात का?
नहीं, देखो डर तो यही है. जैसे हमारे ब्रिजमोहन श्रीवास्तव जी ने भी बताया कि हमारे नंबर गेम में तो हम कंफर्टेबल है. अब मुझे बताइए, ये समाजवादी पार्टी हमारे साथ लड़ी नहीं थी लेकिन हमको सपोर्ट कर रही है. बहुजन विकास आघाड़ी भी हमको ही सपोर्ट कर रही है. हम सपोर्ट कर, बीजेपी के पास तो 105 और केवल 5, ऐसा ही है इक्वेशन. उनके खुद के चुनके वाले 5 और, तो ये लोगों ने कहां से खड़ा कर दिया. देखिए बात ऐसी है नाविका जी की कोई भी अगर हमारे 4 नहीं आए या बीजेपी का एक ज्यादा आ गया तो ये बात क्लियर हो जाएगी कि बीजेपी ने हमारी जो स्ट्रेंथ है उसको क्रैक किया. लेकिन आपने जो बोला कि रिसोर्ट पॉलिटिक्स क्यों है, तो यही है. अब ये मेरे को गौरव भाटिया जी मस्त बोलते हैं, पुलिस आपकी, सरकार आपकी. मैं बोलता हूं गौरव भाटिया जी, पैसे तो आपके हैं और चर्चा तो बहुत आ चुकी है. नहीं, देखिए अगर आप चुन के आओगे ना तो पैसे के भरोसे आओगे. आपके क्या सगे लगते ये? क्या आपके सगे लगते? आप तो अपसेंट कराने का रेट 10 करोड़ हो गया. अपसेंट का रेट 10 करोड़.
यू नो, एक दूसरे पे आप चार्ज डाल रहे हैं. That is not important. And Smita, I want to ask you, isn't the most important question who's paying for these resort politics? कौन पे कर रहा है? किशोर तिवारी जी, अगाड़ी सरकार पे कर रही है. सरकार यानी टैक्स पेयर का पैसा. टैक्स पेयर का पैसा इसलिए होता है कि जो टैक्स पेयर हो वो गरीबी में रहे, आम आदमी गरीबी में रहे, महंगाई से लड़े, और आप लोग रिजॉर्ट में रहे.
नहीं, नाविका जी, अपर हाउस के अंदर पैसे वाले जाने का जो कल्चर आया है, तो समय आ चुका है कि अपर हाउस को डिसॉल्व किया जाए. फिर वो MLA रहे, MLC रहे या फिर राज्यसभा में रहे.
I want to ask Sanjay Jha, if there are Haryana MLAs of the Congress party who are, herded away to Chhattisgarh resorts, is it because it is taxpayer money? इसलिए चुभता नहीं है आप लोग को? You do this kind of games during elections?
Well, Navika, before I answer that question, let me just tell my good friend Gaurav, because you have to have some audacity to hear Gaurav talk about political morality when Operation Lotus was actually a completely well choreographed program meant to buy out and make MLAs part of a stock exchange transaction. It was a shame, and I wanted to make this discussion very bipartisan. I don't want to go down the parochial path. All political parties, as even Smita mentioned, have been guilty at different scales. But to answer your question, I do agree, and therefore I'm going to tell you this. It makes me ashamed as somebody who's part of the political ecosystem to see politicians indulge in this kind of debased pedestrian politics. I think we are sending out a terrible message. You know, people will laugh at you and me. People will laugh at India. People will laugh at everyone who wears white and pontificates on how great India must be and what are the policies and programs we need. I think all of us today on the program, I'm sure, are blushing red with embarrassment that we have to even discuss this issue.
But we still hanker for those Rajya Sabha seats, but we still go out there and indulge in the same process time and time again. Well, that's what I say about moral high ground. But Gaurav Bhatia, that's the charge. That's the charge. Operation Kamal के बाद आप तो lecture ना ही दें किसी को तो बेहतर रहेगा.
ये बराबर का.
नहीं नाविका जी, आई थिंक भारतीय जनता पार्टी तो वो पार्टी है जो सबको यहाँ लेक्चर दे सकती है क्योंकि जनता का आशीर्वाद हमारे साथ है. माय फ्रेंड संजय झा, एंड ही इज वेरी डियर टू मी, ही डिड नॉट आंसर 6 BSP MLAs defected to Congress party. Why did the Congress party use their, please बीच में मत बोलिए, it is very disturbing. सर अपनी बारी में बोलिएगा. So I just want to ask, संजय भाई ने नहीं आंसर दिया, कोई बात नहीं, बट ये रुपया कहाँ से आ रहा है आपने ये पूछा. हार्ड अर्न टैक्स पेयर्स मनी बीइंग यूटिलाइज्ड फॉर मैजिक शोज. नाउ मैजिक शो की वजह से जो घोड़ा है वो घोड़ा रहेगा, गधा घोड़े में नहीं बदल जाएगा. एंड संजय भाई, लेट मी रिमाइंड यू, 2017
let's not be sanctimonious. Your MLAs are also in a resort in Rajasthan.
Can I complete myself?
नहीं, वो पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है? वो किसका पैसा है? Your MLAs are also in a resort in Rajasthan.
मैं बता देता हूँ.
वो तो राम ट्रस्ट से आ रहा है.
Can I complete myself? I'll answer that. I will answer that. If I am not interrupted, I will.
So don't. What is this Ram Temple business?
Please, नाविका जी, this is unfair. 3 लोग चिल्लाएंगे, अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. ठीक है. So let me just complete my point.
किशोर तिवारी जी, सवाल पूछा गया है, सवाल का जवाब सुन लीजिए. आपके पास आती हूँ. गौरव भाटिया, complete your point in 20 seconds.
Navika, there has been no charge of a Vasuli government, like in the case of the Maha Vasuli Aghadi, which has been extorting money, people's money, to fund their own needs. There has been no charge against the BJP that we have misused or abused our official position and taxpayers' money has been used to pay for the hotel or resort bills. But I'm ending by saying 2017 Gujarat election, Gujarat witnessed floods and 40 MLAs of the Congress party were in Karnataka enjoying, seeing magic show, dancing, while the people needed them. That's the kind of resort politics we don't want.
Well, Smita, I want to come back to you and I want to ask you, can any political party take the high moral ground?
No, it can't. But also they shouldn't take cheap shots like this person who just now said कि बीजेपी के पास पैसा आ रहा है राम मंदिर से. किसी ने बोला कि हाजी अली से पैसा आ रहा है. Why do you make these kind of communal statements? राम टेम्पल का इसमें बीच में लाने का क्या मतलब था? You know, this is what is most irritating, that you have a sane debate going on and some wise comment will come in like this and just debase the entire debate that goes on. The sad part, Navika, is that it's almost Darwinian, you know, here. That जिसके पास ज्यादा मसल पावर है, जिसके पास ज्यादा पैसा है, वो राज्यसभा में घुसेगा. That should just not be the way things happen. It's really debasing the entire system, and I think while all political parties agree, but from the 1980s we have been seeing it, from Ramakrishna Hegde versus Indira Gandhi to NTR versus Naidu to the whole Ahmed Patel election, and then Shashikala, and then subsequently everything. So there needs to be some major reform.
It doesn't stop. They carry on with impunity, and at the end of the day, the public is left watching the tamasha, the gross misuse of taxpayers' paisa, and those who are poor, who need help during this time of price rise and inflation, what about them? And what about this house called the House of Elders, the upper house of Parliament? Is the road to this upper house laden with money trampled over by politicians of every single political party? That's the question we need to answer. And it's enough. The public has had enough of this. It's time to bring in a legislation and address this problem. Thank you very much to my panelists. I'm getting breaking news coming up on the other side. On the 3rd of June, Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a crucial meeting to review the security of Jammu and Kashmir and ramp up the anti-terror crackdown. That was his second meeting in a fortnight, given the rising attacks on Hindus and non-locals in Kashmir. Since then, the Modi government zero tolerance policy has gone a notch further, details of which have been accessed exclusively here. There is information that we are getting that Army, Central Police Forces, Jammu and Kashmir Police and security agencies have now managed to kill 4 terrorists in the last 24 hours in joint operations. AK-56 grenades and a huge amount of ammunition has also been recovered from these terrorists. Action taken against them. Out of the 4 terrorists killed, 3 were from Pakistan, and 1 is still in the process of being identified. That is the big breaking news coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. And with that, it's a wrap on the NewsHour tonight. Thank you very much for joining me on the NewsHour at 9. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night and be safe.
The NewsHour at 9 will be right back after the break. Times now. Action begins here. The NewsHour at 9. You were watching the NewsHour at 9. Stay tuned. Times now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए, और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते और ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था, और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ, ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, लेकिन
Welcome, you're watching NewsHour Agenda, India's most loved primetime show at 10. I'm Padmaja Joshi. It's been 4 days since the Kanpur riots, and so far 50 people have been arrested and several more have surrendered after police pasted posters with their faces all over the city. The government has released multiple pictures of rioters which show people with stones in their hands or trying to incite violence. And the message is clear: surrender or face arrest. Further, the district administration carried out a survey today in riot-affected area and has assured that if any of the buildings that were used to pelt stones are found to be illegal, they will meet the friendly end of a bulldozer soon.
50 लोग अब तक गिरफ्तार हो गए हैं और आगे इन्वेस्टिगेशन जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ेगा हो सकता है कि गिरफ्तारियों में और इजाफा हो।
पेट्रोल पंप्स का एक मुद्दा नज़र आया, जो उस एरिया के आसपास स्थित पेट्रोल पंप्स थे वो इलीगली जो प्रोहिबिटेड होता है ज्वलनशील पदार्थ को बॉटल्स वगैरह में बेचना, उस तरह का फुटेज हमने रिट्रीव किया और उसको पुलिस को सपोर्ट किया। वी हैव डिसाइडेड दैट वी हैव टू कम अप विद अ आयरन हैंड एंड इन एनी केस सच irregularity or illegality comes to fore. So we'll take a stringent action and as per the legal proceedings we'll take it up. जो KDA norms हैं उनके अनुरूप कार्रवाई करेंगे एंड जहाँ भी अवैधानिक रूप से बिल्डिंग्स हैं उनके डिमोलिशन की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी तो वो भी करेंगे।
But even as the action has started and evidence is in front of you on camera, efforts to spin it have started. From the usual suspects, the PFI, the Popular Front of India, who coincidentally find themselves wherever there is a riot across the country, they have called it biased and one-sided action. Political parties like the SP, they are sending a delegation of MLAs tomorrow to meet the governor of UP to complain against this one-sided action. AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi today also questioned the entire process, and the Sheher Qazi of Kanpur went so far as to declare that they will be ready to come on the streets and die should this government process continue.
ज़्यादती की इंतहा, सब्र का इंतहा हो रही है। अगर यही मतलब होना है तो फिर ठीक है, वो हम कानून को तो तोड़ते नहीं ना, कानून को भी तोड़ा हमने, लेकिन ये तो हमें हक है कि ठीक है भाई हम मरने के लिए निकले आ रहे मानो सब कफन बांध के निकल पड़ेंगे। फिर तो हमें यही करना है, जब हमें रहने नहीं देना, हमारे बच्चों को पकड़ना, गिरफ्तार करना, जुल्म ज़्यादती करना, घर तोड़ देना, तो फिर ठीक है हम मरने के लिए तैयार है ना। अब तो हम सब कफन बांध के निकलने आ रहे, तोड़िए अब इसके मकान तोड़ना, अब इसके लिए तैयार है।
The simple question though now is, a riot has happened, the police has to act, the law will take its own course as we are famously told. But when the law does start taking its own course, why is there communalizing and obfuscation? Why bring in a religious angle? Why issue threats? And most importantly, when the evidence is on camera, where is the room for doubt?
You're watching the News Hour at 10. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining us now on the debate, Subuhi Khan activist, Feroz Bakht Ahmed, Chancellor of Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Abdul Hafiz Gandhi, National Spokesperson Samajwadi Party, Danish Qureshi, political analyst, Dr. Abdul Manan, spokesperson of AIMIM, and Advocate Talha Amir Rashadi, spokesperson of Rashtriya Ulema Council. I want to start by asking you, Abdul Hafiz Gandhi, that your MLAs tomorrow, 3 of them are going to meet the governor saying that the action is one-sided. How exactly?
Padmaja, if any riot took place, then action must be taken, yes. But every action need to be taken under the law, within the precinct of the Constitution. And we expect the law enforcement agencies to be neutral, impartial in their functioning. But and you might have seen certain videos they are circulating on the social media where certain private people, they are also hurling stones, they are pelting stone along with the police. So we are not casting any aspersions on the police, but we are saying that those people, private people who are pelting stones along with the police, why they are not being arrested? So we as a responsible political party demand that there must be a fair play, there must be fair investigation, and nobody is saying that action should not be taken against the rioters.
So
yes, you take
that
action,
there was a conspiracy to create riots, and that action is fine, but everyone needs to be acted against. But the people who have been arrested, the 50 arrested so far, you agree that they deserve to be arrested?
The law will take its own course. No? There is a whole legal process. They will go through a judicial process, and this is what our constitution says. This is what the legal system of a country is.
But
so
you do
we
not
do
think
not
that
have
there
any
is an
objection
effort
to
to
it.
try
But
and
the fact
frame
is
innocent
that
people?
actually,
because it is on camera. You can see that there is a conspiracy. There was an effort to try and create a riot. You agree with that, right? That there was a conspiracy to create a riot. I teach law, and in criminal jurisprudence, a person is innocent till he is proved guilty. So we cannot say that whomsoever is being arrested is, guilty for the offence with which he is charged. So my point is here that yes, police can arrest. There are provisions, various provisions under which police can make arrest. Yeah, they can make arrest, but our only demand is that we demand fairness on the part of the police administration. Okay.
We demand that action also should also be taken against.
However, let me remind you, sir, that the people who have been arrested so far are on camera. They are on CCTV camera in the process of rioting. This is not people who have been picked up from their homes, who were sleeping. These are people whose pictures are there in the process, literally, of rioting.
Padmaja, you can say that, I can say that, but there is a whole legal process. They will go through a whole judicial process, and after, and who are you to answer? When she's asking me, then I should answer in the language which I want.
Whole legal, after all. All right.
Okay, finish your point, Mr. Gandhi, then I'll bring you in, Mr. Ahmed. Yes,
you can speak. You can speak when Padmaja asks you.
Yes, go
I think that there is no business of interrupting. So that is why we are meeting, Governor, to apprise him of the situation. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Ahmed, go on.
All right, you see, Padmaja, I was listening to you, and the whole perception of this Kanpur incident, unfortunate incident is, and I heard many people from my own community saying, and they are also meeting the Honorable Governor to tell him that most of the arrests which have been made are from the Muslim community. Now, this is first of all not a question of Hindu or Muslim. Arrest will be made of that person who is found indulging in something illegal, unconstitutional, and throwing stones, things of that kind. Number one. Number two, I was listening to Qazi Abdul Quddus Saab. He was saying that, we are ready to sacrifice our lives, hum kafan pehen ke aa jayenge. What is this? Is it a threatening? Now, there is nothing of that kind. Let me tell you, we thank God that we are born in India. We are not born in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Pakistan. India is a very wonderful country, and if they want to see, जो कह रहे थे कि जुल्म हो रहा है मुसलमानों पे, अगर जुल्म देखना है, they should go to China. They should see how Uyghur Muslims are living. They have no, in fact, इनके अंदर हिम्मत नहीं, they have no courage to speak about Uyghur Muslims. Even Pakistan, half of Pakistan, which has been managed by China today, even they don't have guts to tell Chinese Prime Minister that yes, Uyghur Muslims have been in fact maltreated.
Okay, Mr. Manan, Feroz Bakht Ahmed is saying, you today say that this is a witch hunt against Muslims. He is saying Indian Muslims are safer than anywhere else. Kanpur should not be taken as an excuse to again drum up that paranoia. Mr. Manan.
सबसे बड़ी विडंबना है कि कानपुर में उत्तर प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट और पुलिस दे आर टेकिंग वन साइडेड एक्शन.
अच्छा,
ओनली मुस्लिम्स आर पनिश्ड, जबकि स्टोन पेल्टिंग दोनों तरफ से हो रही। ऐसा तो था नहीं कि सिर्फ एक तरफ से स्टोन पेल्टिंग हो रही थी, स्टोन दोनों तरफ से चल रहे थे। तो क्या सिर्फ एक कम्युनिटी के लोगों ने अपने ऊपर स्टोन चला लिया, दूसरी तरफ भी वही फेंक रहे थे, अपने ऊपर भी फेंक रहे थे? सवाल इस बात का पैदा होता है कि वीडियो में जब दोनों तरफ से पत्थर फेंके जा रहे हैं तो सिर्फ 40 के 40 लोग एक ही कम्युनिटी से क्यों लिए गए? अगर देखें, ये देश को बदनाम करने की कोशिश मत कीजिए आप।
जिन लोगों ने अमानत रसूल करी उन्होंने माफी मांग ली, उनको निकाल दिया गया।
तुम तो कूदने लगते हो बीच में,
फेंकने की क्या जरूरत थी?
तुम्हारी बहुत आदत बुरी है, तुम कूद पड़ते हो बीच में। पूरी बात तो करने दो, मछली मंडी क्यों बनाते हो डिबेट को तुम?
भाईजान तमीज से बोलिए, आप जनाब से बात कीजिए, ठीक है? ठीक है, हाँ तमीज से बात करिए, डोंट बिकम पर्सनल।
तभी दी जाती है।
Okay, Mr. Mahan, please come to the point. No, come to the point. So we are all in agreement over here that one, there is no witch hunt. One, that second is that the action should be taken. Your issue is that action is not even-handed, right? आप कह रहे हैं इनको अरेस्ट किया, बहुत अच्छी बात है, आप दूसरी साइड को भी अरेस्ट कीजिए, यही आपका प्रॉब्लम है ना?
पत्थर दोनों तरफ से फेंके जा रहे थे, मेरी बात आप सुनिएगा। और अगर आपने मान लिया कि 40 लोगों को एक कम्युनिटी से आपने गिरफ्तार किया, दूसरी कम्युनिटी के लोग भी पत्थर फेंक रहे थे। मैं मानता हूं कि मान लिया कि 2 ही भाई थे दूसरी तरफ से और 2 पत्थर फेंक रहे थे, 2 लोग पत्थर फेंक रहे थे। अगर उनको आप नहीं नामजद करोगे, 40 लोगों के एक ही कम्युनिटी से नामजद करोगे, तो पूरी दुनिया में भारत क्या मोदी?
बताइए सुबुही खान, आपको एक ही कम्युनिटी के लोग क्यों दिख रहे हैं?
मेरी बात सुनिए, आप लोग बीच में बोलने लगते हैं। मेरी बात सुनिए, जब हम कह रहे थे कि नूपुर शर्मा बदतमीज है, जब हम कह रहे थे नवीन जिंदल बदतमीज है, तब तुम्हें नहीं याद आ रहा था। और जब अरब देशों ने तुमसे कहा कि तुम्हारे अम्बेडकर
सर, अभी इसी, कैन वी जस्ट स्पीक ऑन दिस इशू? Can we speak on this issue? Let Subui Khan answer your question. Why can you see people of only one community? Answer. Subui Khan, answer.
Yes. Please don't intervene.
Nupur Sharma.
Sir, I don't know your name. Please don't intervene.
Please silence for 30 seconds. Please answer.
You only said that this is not Machli Bazaar. This is a debate. Please let me finish. I want to make 3 important points here. First, if Suresh, Mahesh, Rakesh are arrested for committing some crime, are we going to leave them or give them benefit of doubt just by stating that all 3 are Hindus? So it can't happen. Criminals are not dealt with in accordance to their religion, but according to the crime that they commit. Second point I want to make, I am not saying that Muslims are always wrong and Hindus are always correct. But I want to make this statement with full responsibility. If a Hindu commits a crime, thousands and thousands of Hindus stand up and say that this is wrong, this person should be punished. But if a Muslim commits a crime, why do these people try to hide the criminals behind Islam? What has Islam has to do with these crimes? Why do you want to do that? Third important point I want to make here. If you think that all the people arrested or the first list that has come out, all the people are Muslims, then who should introspect? You think Yogi ji or BJP should introspect? Those Muslim leaders should introspect. What have you made of these young kids just because of your appeasement politics? Those Maulanas should introspect that they failed to instill the principles of Islam in those young kids. Those political parties like Samajwadi Party should introspect, जो मुर्गा पार्टी देते थे, दारू पार्टी देते थे, हथियार बांटते थे, राजनीतिक संरक्षण में बदमाश बनाते थे, साथ खून माफ करते थे मुसलमान बच्चों के, तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति ने बदनाम बर्बाद किया है उन बच्चों को भी और इस्लाम को भी. We should introspect as Indians.
Talha Rashadi, and you know this keeps coming up again and again कि सिर्फ एक ही कम्युनिटी के लोगों को क्यों पकड़ा गया है. Now let me actually give a more statistical answer to that. The fact is कि arrests are done on the basis of FIRs. I have read the 3 FIRs that are done. Let me quote to you from one of them, Talha Rashadi. यहाँ पर नामजद रिपोर्ट की गई है जिसमें लिखा गया है उक्त घटना में हयात जफर हाशमी, आदिल पुत्र कयूम, इमरान कालिया पुत्र निसार अहमद, आमिर जावेद अंसारी, अब्दुल शकील पुत्र अब्दुल मजीद एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. अब जो नाम एफआईआर में लिखे गए हैं उन्हीं को अरेस्ट करेंगे ना, या इक्वल करने के लिए आप इधर से अब्दुल को उठाइए, उधर से अमर को उठा लीजिए, यहाँ से कयूम को उठाइए, वहां से किशन को उठा लीजिए, जो एफआईआर में नाम है उनको अरेस्ट किया जाएगा. आपको दिख रहा है, आप जाके एफआईआर करो, उनको उठवा लो.
Let me respond.
Who's arguing for them? Pick them up.
Let me respond.
And by the way, let me tell you, this FIR has been filed by Arif Raza. This is the complainant in this case, Arif Raza. Go on.
Which one? Okay, Padmaja, there are 3 FIRs. Okay, 2 of them have been filed by the police. That may be sumoto or whatever it might be. And one has been
मोदी हिंदुत्व अरे बता रही हूँ जो पुलिस का FIR है उसमें कंप्लेनेंट आरिफ रजा है जो कि खुद गश्त पे थे उस वक्त। आरिफ साहब गश्त पे थे और वो कह रहे हैं मुझे पत्थर मारा। लेट मी रीड आउट टू यू व्हाट आरिफ रजा सेज। आरिफ रजा सेज काफी लोग विरोध प्रदर्शन और मारपीट ईटा पत्थर गोलीबारी कर रहे थे। आरिफ रजा के FIR से पढ़ के सुना रही हूँ आपको, वो कंप्लेनेंट है इस केस में। चलिए बोलने दीजिए। पर वो मोदी के हैं आरिफ रजा।
3 FIR हुई। मोदी कहाँ मोदी मैंने कहा? आप लोगों को मोदी फोबिया हो गया है। हर जगह आप लोगों को मोदी मोदी सुनाई देता है तो उसके लिए मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ?
चलिए
हर जगह मोदी मोदी, यहाँ से लेकर पूरी गल्फ कंट्रीज में मोदी मोदी सुनाई दे रहा है तो मैं उसके लिए कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ। दिन रात आप लोग डिफेंड कीजिए, आप प्रवक्ता बन जाइए अनऑफिशियल, तो उसके लिए मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? लेट मी कम ऑन दी पॉइंट। आपने कहा 3 FIR हुई है, बिल्कुल 3 FIR हुई है।
डोंट स्टूप टू दैट लेवल। आप कह रहे हैं प्रवक्ता है बीजेपी के,
दीजिए। अरे आप अब इनके प्रवक्ता बन जाइए, वो पूरी दुनिया में मशहूर है। हाँ तो बोलने दीजिए ना, आप लोग बोलने कहाँ देते हैं? 3 FIR हुई है, उसमें से 2 फाइल की है पुलिस ने, 2 पुलिस ने फाइल की, एक किसी इंडिविजुअल ने फाइल की है। आप बता रही आरिफ रजा, मैं मान लेता हूँ आरिफ रजा ने की होगी। प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे नामजद सारे मुसलमान हैं, ये सारे लोग कह रहे हैं। मेरे हाथ में देखिए एक ट्वीट की कॉपी है, प्रशांत उमराव है, ही इज द ऑफिशियल स्पोक्स पर्सन ऑफ बीजेपी उत्तर प्रदेश। ही इज ऑल्सो अ सुप्रीम कोर्ट लॉयर हु इज द स्टैंडिंग काउंसिल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ गोवा इन सुप्रीम कोर्ट। इन्होंने एक ट्वीट किया था इंसिडेंट की रात 9 बजे रात में, एक वीडियो उन्होंने ट्वीट किया था, उसमें लिखा था कानपुर में हिंदू पक्ष ने भी बराबरी से जवाब में पत्थर चलाए हैं। यह एक शुभ सूचना है, पुलिस से अधिक समाज की कार्रवाई महत्व की होती है। पुलिस की शक्ति सीमित होती है, जागरूक समाज की शक्ति असीमित होती है। ये ट्वीट किया था ऑफिशियल स्पोक्स पर्सन है बीजेपी की।
So आप FIR कीजिए against him also and against all the people that can be seen. Please go ahead and file an FIR. Where is the doubt in that? File an FIR.
ठीक है, फाइल एन FIR। पुलिस ने 2 सुमोटो क्यों किया? अगर पुलिस ने सुमोटो किया तो उसके बाद बाकी लोगों का भी नाम लेना चाहिए था। जब इनके बीजेपी का ऑफिशियल स्पोक्स पर्सन खुद कह रहे हैं कि हिंदू पक्ष ने बराबरी से पथराव किया, वीडियो वायरल कर रहे हैं, वीडियो लगा रहे हैं, तो क्यों नहीं उनका नाम आया?
बताइए।
टॉकिंग अबाउट टेकिंग बिलो, talking about law.
For a sense of fairness, justice must be seen to be done. सुबुई खान।
It's the responsibility of the government.
अरे एक बात तो सुनिए भाई, नहीं प्लीज मेरी बात सुनिए। लोकतंत्र में, डेमोक्रेसी में, सुन लीजिए मेरी बात। ऐसे में बात नहीं कर पाऊंगी, प्लीज बात सुनिए। लोकतंत्र में जिम्मेदारी सिर्फ सत्ता की नहीं होती है, विपक्ष की भी होती है, समाज की भी होती है, सबकी होती है। पहली बात तो लोकतंत्र की परिभाषा समझिए। दूसरी बात एंकर आपको बीजेपी की प्रवक्ता लगती हैं, फिरोज भाई आपको एंकर के प्रवक्ता लगते हैं, मुझे आप अभी योगी जी का प्रवक्ता बता देंगे। ये एक मनोविज्ञान का बहुत पुराना प्रिंसिपल है, तर्क पे किसी को काट ना पाओ तो स्पीकर को डिस्क्रेडिट कर दो, स्पीकर डिस्क्रेडिट कर दो, क्योंकि इंसानियत के हिसाब से, सच के हिसाब से, तथ्यों के हिसाब से तो आप फेल हो जाएंगे। आपको सिंपल सी बात क्यों समझ नहीं आती है? भाषा, जाति, क्षेत्र, संप्रदाय से ऊपर उठकर देखिए। दिस इज अ क्रूशियल टाइम फॉर द कंट्री, प्लीज सी दैट ऑल द बॉर्डर स्टेट्स आर बीइंग डिस्टर्ब्ड। लेट मी फिनिश। दैट मींस यू आर नॉट इवन एन इंडियन, यू आर नॉट इवन कंसर्न्ड अबाउट द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी। आई एम गोइंग टू टेल यू समथिंग important.
Let's not make comments about people's nationality, please. Let's stay away from that. Finish your point. Finish your point, please, Mr. Talha. You'll come back to you. Let her finish. 10 more seconds, please finish. Yes.
I won't be able to finish that.
Okay, finish, please. Silence for 10 seconds and finish your point.
I'm trying to say this is a crucial time for the country. This is not a coincidence that pro-Khalistan rallies are being organized in Punjab. This is not a coincidence that riots and stone pelting are being done in Kanpur. Uttar Pradesh is a very important state for national security. We share a big border with Nepal. Through Nepal, Pakistan and China try to infiltrate the border and they try to do many anti-national activities through the border of Uttar Pradesh. We must understand that this is a threat to our national security. Foreign funded organizations are instigating these riots, they are promoting these riots, और आप मुसलमान करते हुए बचाने के लिए आ जाते हैं अपराधियों को। अरे फर्स्ट अरेस्ट हुई है, आने तो दीजिए, देखने तो दीजिए, साथ तो दीजिए अपनी सरकार को और समाज का।
Just by the way, if you do not believe what Feroz Bakht Ahmed is saying, what is written in the FIR, listen to the people who were present on the spot, because remember, you might see the accused through the prism of their religion, but जो victim होते हैं वो religion neutral होते हैं। Let me play out for you, in fact, a man who has a shop at Yatim Khana, the place where the rioting happened in Kanpur, and this man's name is Salman, Mr. Rashadi, and he also is as badly affected क्योंकि उनकी भी दुकान तोड़ी गई इस पूरे दंगे में। सुनिए उनकी बात, सुनिए, लिसन।
ये जरूर है कि हाँ भाई, एक आधे घंटे 15 मिनट जो भी रहा वो एक दहशत भरा माहौल रहा।
जी, आप क्या समझते हैं, क्या गलती किस तरफ से हो गई जो एकदम से
ये रखते गलती किसी तरफ से? तो गलतियां ही हैं, अब जो भी हुई हों बस।
तो आप क्या समझते हैं कि कोई सोची समझी साजिश इसके पीछे थी, या यंग लड़के आपा खो बैठे इसलिए ऐसा कुछ हो गया?
इसके कोई विचारधारा नहीं बता पाऊंगा अपनी इसमें। बस हम लोग एक बिजनेसमैन हैं, बस सीधे अपना सुबह से शाम जो निकलता है बस अपनी दुकान पे निकलता है, इसके अलावा कुछ मतलब नहीं जानते।
पर अफसोस हुआ आपको जो कुछ
तो है सर, क्यों नहीं अफसोस है?
बताइए मिस्टर रशादी।
कर रहा हूँ किसी को मोहतरमा, मैं कह रहा हूँ जो भी एक्यूज हैं सबको आप चार्ज कीजिए, सबको
मिस्टर रशादी,
आई एम आस्किंग मिस्टर रशादी,
सिर्फ एक साइड के एक्यूज को आप क्यों जेल के पीछे डालेंगे? क्लैश हुए थे, पथराव हुआ, दोनों साइड से हुआ।
अरे सर,
साइड के लोगों को
जो वीडियो दिख रहे हैं, एक सेकेंड आप वीडियो को देखिए। वीडियो में आपको कौन दिख रहा है? सीसीटीवी कैमरा तोड़ते हुए। पहली तहरीर में एफआईआर किसके खिलाफ हो रहा है? उनको अरेस्ट किया गया है। लीव दैट असाइड, जो पोस्टर लगाया गया है, एंड दिस इज द मोस्ट वरिंग पार्ट। डू यू नो मिस्टर रशादी दैट इन द आफ्टरनून you had a young boy walked into a police thana on his own, a young boy, he's a minor, वो स्टोन पेल्टिंग कर रहा था, नंबर 13 उसका पोस्टर में शक्ल है, उसने खुद आकर के सरेंडर किया। अब आप कहेंगे उसको भी जबरदस्ती अरेस्ट किया गया है। सवाल तो उनसे भी पूछना चाहिए ना, जो इंडोक्ट्रिनेट करके एक माइनर बच्चे से पत्थर पड़वा रहे हैं, और जब अरेस्ट होता है आप कह रहे हैं कि भाई ये तो विछंट है। विछंट किधर से हो गया सर? वो बच्चा खुद आकर के कह रहा है कि हाँ मैंने पत्थर मारे। उनसे सवाल पूछेंगे आप जो इन बच्चों को इंडोक्ट्रिनेट करके पत्थर फेंकवा रहे हैं?
जी जी जी, अब आप देखिए कि कानपुर का मुसलमान कितना लॉ अबाइडिंग सिटीजन है कि उसका पोस्टर लगा, वो खुद बच्चा पहुंच गया, उसकी फैमिली ने भेज दिया कि जाओ बेटा सरेंडर कर दो, पुलिस ने तुमको विक्टिम बनाया है।
सर, सरेंडर करना लॉ अबाइडिंग नहीं होता है।
उसके बाद
सरेंडर करना जब आपका पोस्टर लग जाता है, सरेंडर और एल्स, तो गजब है। वो पत्थर फेंक रहे हैं, उसके बाद सरेंडर कर रहे हैं, आप उनको लॉ अबाइडिंग का तमगा दे रहे हैं। फिरोज बख्त अहमद, कमाल है। एक्शन हो रहा है, आप उसको अनलॉफुल बोल रहे हैं, जो सरेंडर कर रहा है आप उसको लॉ अबाइडिंग बोल रहे हैं। दिस इज नेक्स्ट लेवल। फिरोज बख्त अहमद,
पद्मजा प्लीज गिव मी अ वर्ड इन द साइडलाइन।
ओके, गो।
रशादी साहब प्लीज, आप मेरे बच्चे की तरह हो, थोड़ा सब्र तहम्मुल से मेरी बात सुन लीजिए। हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट टू यू आर लाइक माई सन रशादी। हाँ सुनो, नाउ यू नो Subuhi pointed out at a very important thing. She said that in Punjab there is something very dangerous, you know, this Khalistan movement is revived once again. Now another important thing which I want to in fact tell, and I want to in fact warn all the people of India, including Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, everyone, it is that children are being misguided, they are incited and they are misled. What happened in Kanpur, children were asked to throw stones, and this is something which happened in Kashmir. Apart from that, let me also add to this incident which happened a couple of weeks ago in Kerala. A 10-year-old child, right, a 10-year-old innocent child, he was asked to in fact state certain things which were, I mean, he spewed venom against India, he spewed venom against Hindus and Christians, right, he poured vitriolic. Now this is a very dangerous trend that children are in fact pounced upon, they are misguided and misled. I mean, this is a message for all the people, whether Hindus or Muslims. Please spare. मैं हाथ जोड़ के रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ, प्लीज बच्चों के हाथ में किताबें दीजिए, बच्चों के हाथ में give computers and books, not the stones. This is what we are trying to do. And so far as Kanpur is concerned, अब एक और बात कहने वाला हूँ, कानपुर में those people, perpetrators, stone throwers, they are being now taken care of by the law, by police. अब क्या होगा जब इनके व्हेन एक्शन विल बी टेकन अगेंस्ट देम, दे विल से इस्लाम खतरे में, दे विल से मुसलमानों के खिलाफ जुल्म हो रहा है. I mean, let us come out of this imbroglio, this impasse of Hindu-Muslim.
Okay,
India is
come
on a
out of
fast
that
track to
mindset,
become
Danish
the
Qureshi.
world guru.
Come out of this mindset. There is Subui Khan and Feroz Bakht Ahmad are suggesting that what is happening from Kerala to Kanpur.
Please allow me to talk.
Yes, go on. And it follows to a pattern. Danish Qureshi.
ओके अब सबसे पहले तो सिकंदर बख्श साहब, मैं आपकी बात से किसी बात से इत्तेफाक नहीं रखता हूं, क्योंकि इस देश की विटंबना ये है कि सारे लोग ये बात कर रहे हैं, मैं सुबह से भी कह रहा हूं कि सारे लोग ये बात कर रहे हैं कि कानपुर में दंगे हुए,
मैं बहुत छोटा सा आदमी हूं फिरोज बख्श.
सुन लीजिए बख्श साहब, सुन लीजिए. मुसलमानों ने पत्थर फेंके, मुसलमानों ने दुकानें लूटी, लेकिन जानते हैं दरअसल कानपुर में दंगे क्यों हुए? जिसकी वजह से दंगे हुए वो आज तक सलाखों के बाहर है, नुपुर शर्मा, और जिसकी वजह से दंगे हुए उसके लिए 50 लोग अंदर हैं, चाहे वो किसी भी मजहब के थे. तो दिस इज द बार स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ फेडरल गवर्नमेंट और जिले इलाही ऑफ उत्तर प्रदेश. बाबा जो जिले इलाही बन के घूम रहे हैं ना, उनको ये समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि सरकार जो है, सरकार का मतलब उत्तर प्रदेश.
नुपुर शर्मा ने और जिंदल ने माफी मांग ली है. इस्लाम के अंदर
सुनिए बख्श साहब, आप बोल रहे थे, मैं बिल्कुल इत्मीनान से सुन रहा था. अब आप वाइस चांसलर हैं,
ज्यादा अच्छा समझा जाता है. अल्लाह ने अल्लाह कहता है अगर आपके पास
Mr. Qureshi, the point is very simple. The law should take its course in the case of Nupur Sharma and also in the case of Kanpur. By the way, मैं आपको ये भी बता दूं कि अभी इवनिंग में the उत्तर प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट has booked a BJYM कार्यकर्ता for what he said on कानपुर. कानपुर में एक BJYM के कार्यकर्ता को भी बुक किया गया है. तो जहां तक आपका सवाल है कि कानपुर में क्यों एक्शन हो रहा है, उसको भी होने दीजिए, आप बाकी जगह भी एक्शन होने दीजिए. मुंबई में भी एक्शन हो रहा है ना, उन्होंने बुलाया है नुपुर शर्मा को क्वेश्चनिंग के लिए, एंड वहां पे भी कार्रवाई होगी. At least we are all in agreement that whatever action has to happen, Dr. Abdul Manan, it should be allowed to happen. Let's keep aside this constant painting of the action as this is being done only in a communal way, this is partial, this is a witch hunt. You are agreeing? Let the action happen and happen against all even-handedly. Dr. Abdul Manan.
मैडम, ऐसा है कि सीए और एनआरसी में भी आपने पोस्टर लगवाए थे और सुप्रीम कोर्ट से आपको फटकार लगी थी, और उसी कानपुर में जो आपने वसूली की थी वो आपको लौटाना पड़ा था. तो आज आपने पोस्टर लगाया है, कल सुप्रीम कोर्ट आपको खुद जवाब देगी. जहां तक इसका सवाल है, शर्म करो सब लोग. इस देश में जहां एक पेश इमाम को कहना पड़ता है कि हम सर पे कफन बांध रहे हैं, एक कम्युनिटी को इस तरह सताओगे? अभी सिकंदर बख्श नहीं भाई, फिरोज बख्श ये कह रहे थे कि मुसलमान बच्चों को सिखाया जाता है कि ये करो वो करो, स्टोन फेंको. फिर कौन लोग हैं अपने बच्चों को सिखाते हैं? ये भाजपा के लोग अपने बच्चों को अमेरिका में पढ़ाएंगे, इंग्लैंड में पढ़ाएंगे. और जब
सर ये क्या बात हुई?
नारा लगाकर
आप कह रहे हैं कि जो शहर काजी थ्रेटन कर रहे हैं वो सताए जाने का वो है, लक्षण है, और जो बच्चा कर रहा है वो अपने मन से कर रहा है, उसको भाजपा सिखा रही है.
सुनो ना पूरी, मेरी बात सुनो तो डिस्टर्ब करती है, नीचे लगने लगती है तुम लोगों को. ये बताओ कि किस भाजपा के नेता ने अपने बेटे को कहा कि जय श्री राम का नारा लगा के जाकर मस्जिद पे झंडा लगा दो? जब जय श्री राम का नारा लगवा के मस्जिदों पे पथराव करवा रहे हो, मस्जिदों पे झंडे लगा रहे हो, रामनवमी के जुलूस में झंडे लगवा रहे हो, नारे लगवा रहे हो जय श्री राम का, अरे भाई जब पाप कर रहे हो तो जय श्री राम को बीच में क्यों ला रहे हो?
Okay, Subui Khan, I don't see what is the comparison, sir. If anyone has desecrated a mosque, they should also be in jail, as they have gone to jail. In this case, a child himself came and surrendered because he was there in a poster pelting stones. People can be seen on camera. कैमरे पे हैं, FIR पे हैं, खुद सरेंडर कर रहे हैं, फिर भी आप कह रहे हैं कि भाई वहां पर उनके ऊपर जुल्म किया जा रहा है. आप कह रहे हैं शर्म करो, इतना जुल्म कर रहे हो कि लोग मजबूर हो रहे हैं ये कहने को कि हम कफन बांध लेंगे. आप थ्रेट को जस्टिफाई कर रहे हो, एक्शन को कह रहे हो कि वो गलत है. सुबुई खान,
सेक्रीफाइस करने को आदमी तैयार है, अपना जान देने को तैयार है. एक इमाम, मस्जिद का इमाम कह रहा है कि हम कफन बांध लेंगे.
सर ये कोई बहुत अच्छी बात नहीं है कहने वाली, जिसको आप यहाँ पर वाहवाही कर रहे हैं.
इस पर प्लीज कुछ कहना चाहती हूँ. ठीक है, ये जो, अरे सुन तो लीजिए भाई साहब, ये जो कानपुर के शहर काजी आज अपने सर पे कफन बांध रहे हैं, जब मुसलमान बच्चों को अलगाववादी, कट्टरवादी, आतंकवादी बनाया जाता है तब तो कफन नहीं बांधते। ठीक है, नुपुर से गलती हुई, लेकिन जितना लार्जर देन लाइफ आप बना रहे हो उत्तर प्रदेश में अनरेस्ट क्रिएट करने के लिए और भारत में अनरेस्ट क्रिएट करने के लिए, उतना बड़ा गुनाह नहीं है भाई साहब। अगर गुस्ताखे रसूल होता तो उनके खिलाफ होता जो जैश मोहम्मद चलाते हैं, हमारे पैगंबर मोहम्मद के नाम पर आतंकवादी संगठन चलाते हैं। गुस्ताखे रसूल अगर होता तो जब छोटी छोटी 12-12 साल की बच्चियों को शेख खरीद के लेकर जाते हैं, पॉक्सो एक्ट का वायलेशन करते हैं, रेप करते हैं छोटी छोटी मुसलमान बच्चियों के साथ, तब आप लोग सर पे कफन बांध के क्यों नहीं निकलते हैं भाई? गुस्ताखे रसूल को बहाना बना के अपने अपराधों को, पापों को छुपाने की कोशिश मत करिए और भड़काइए मत मुसलमान बच्चों को। जिस बच्चे को ना राजनीति पता, ना सोशो पॉलिटिकल कंडीशंस पता, ना अंतरराष्ट्रीय खतरा पता, ना बॉर्डर स्टेट्स पता, उसको आप बस ये बोलते हैं बेटा ले पत्थर उठा, तेरे रसूल को कह दिया चल पत्थर मार, और वो आपके कहने पे आके पत्थर मारने खड़ा हो जाता है। अगर इतने सर पे कफन बांधने वाले हैं तो उन बच्चों के भविष्य के लिए बांधिए, उन मुसलमान बच्चियों की सुरक्षा के लिए बांधिए। मुस्लिम तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति करके अपने कौम को बर्बाद कर दिया है। एक उदाहरण देना चाहती हूँ पद्मजा, हम एक उदाहरण देना चाहती हैं। एक सेकेंड जस्ट वन एग्जाम्पल। हम लोग एक अभियान पे काम कर रहे हैं, राष्ट्र जागरण अभियान। हम प्रवास करते हुए पहुंचे हैदराबाद, वहां पर हमें पता चला 3 जनरेशन, ये मिस्यार मैरिज, मुझे पता चला कि ट्रैवलर्स मैरिज, बाहर से शेख आते हैं, छोटी छोटी बच्चियों को निकाह करके लेके जाते हैं शरिया के नाम पर, ओवैसी साहब की नाक के नीचे, जो कहते हैं एक दिन मुसलमान लड़की इंशाल्लाह प्रधानमंत्री बनेगी। अरे भाई पहले उसको सम्मान तो दे दो, उसे शेखों के हाथ बेचना तो बंद कर दो, उसके हाथ में किताब तो दे दो, तब तो जाके प्रधानमंत्री बनेगी। 3 जनरेशन पहले तक ओवैसी साहब के खानदान में हीरो पुक चलाते थे, मुस्लिम तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति कर करके बड़े बड़े महल बना लिए, और मुसलमान आज भी फल का ठेला लगा रहा है, आज भी सब्जी का ठेला लगा रहा है। आप लोग चाहते ही नहीं है कि उसके हाथ में वो ताकत आए, आप चाहते ही नहीं है वो डॉक्टर, साइंटिस्ट, प्रधानमंत्री बने। सिर्फ लफाजी है भाई साहब, सिर्फ लफाजी है, बर्बाद करके रख दिया है अपने मुस्लिम कौम को और मुसलमान बच्चों को।
Important point that has been made by Subuhi Khan, which is not to say that anyone, if found in violation of the law, including people that Abdul Hafiz Gandhi and Dr. Manan are saying can be seen on camera from the Hindu community pelting stones, they should be booked, they should be jailed, but that does not mean that anyone who has been arrested now and who is in those posters should be given a clean sheet in the name of a witch hunt. That is the simple point. Like we are told again and again, the law must take its own course without being given a communal tinge. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, and Subuhi Khan. India has been facing diplomatic backlash over BJP spokespersons Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal's comments on Prophet Muhammad. Several Arab nations have condemned the remarks, are even demanding an apology from the government of India. In the midst of this diplomatic fallout, Kerala Governor Arif Muhammad Khan today brushed aside Qatar's apology demand as unimportant. He said that people are entitled to their opinions and the government of India cannot be bothered about such reactions. More importantly, he emphasized that the larger message being given out by the country of unity and equal representation and rights of each community is what should gain focus and not the utterances of a few.
If anything, these things are not really important because the heat of the moment at the TV. But we should pay more attention to what Prime Minister is repeatedly saying, what RSS chief is repeatedly saying. We want our tradition of inclusiveness to be strengthened. Nobody is to be excluded. There are countries who have been speaking against us for last so many years on Kashmir, even on other matters. How does it matter? People are entitled to their opinion. That is not important. We should not, India cannot bother about these small reactions.
Now, the governor's remarks come in the backdrop of India rejecting comments of OIC countries and Pakistan in particular, calling them unwarranted and narrow-minded. MEA spokesperson Arindam Bagchi also called out OIC's divisive agenda and asserted that the government of India respects all religions. There is also a domestic furor, with many saying that India has been shamed internationally and its reputation and relations have been destroyed. But have they really? Or are people trying to fish in troubled waters? What is the damage control that India needs to do? That remains the big question.
हमारा कहना है कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने माफी मांगना चाहिए देश की जनता से कि दोबारा इस तरह का कोई भी उनके पार्टी का और उनके मंत्री जो बार-बार ये धर्मांध व्यवस्था पैदा करते हैं, उनके बारे में भी उन्हें जाहिर माफी मांगना चाहिए। ये हमारी भूमिका कांग्रेस की तरफ से है।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us now, Saket Gokhale, National Spokesperson TMC, Dr. Sumansi Raman, political analyst, Subhui Khan, activist, continues with us. But I actually want to get the first word from Amjad Taha, strategic and political affairs expert and regional head of the British Centre for Middle East Studies and Research. Mr. Taha, I want to start by asking you, what do you make of the calls of boycott and apology that are being made for India?
First, let me say that what was happening here, for at least in the United Arab Emirates, has condemned the statement by the spokesperson for the Indian BJP ruling party, expressing its denunciation and rejection of the insult of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. In the UAE, there is a firm rejection of all practices and behaviors that contradict moral and human values and principles. But what I think what's great is that what we saw, the Indian ruling party, BJP, on Sunday suspended the spokesperson and expelled another official after insulting a comment they made, which led to the protest all around the world. What people need to understand at this stage, that 204 million Muslims have felt at home in India, and its centuries-old syncretic heritage has preserved Islamic values. I applaud and congratulate the confirmation and the clarification of and the condemnation of the anti-prophet statement by the Indian government. Having said that, coming back to your question, which is really important, Qatar has never apologized to India for guaranteeing a citizenship to MF Hussain, who is known for anti-Hindu painting of Hindu gods and insulting the great nation of Hindu people and religion. Equally, as much as we stand against Islamophobism, we should also stand against Hinduphobes around the world. Why didn't the media, for example, condemn what the editor of Qatar Al-Watan newspaper said? I'm quoting him again. He said, speaking to the Indian people who built all the football pitches in Doha, this is why his country is hosting the World Cup 2022. He said, I'm quoting him, the editor of Qatar Al-Watan newspaper, he said, Indian people are the dirtiest people as much as their religion. Now I'm quoting, this is his account, and this is his tweet, right here. We can see his tweet. This is what he said about the Indian people. Why didn't a lot of media condemn? This is why we can understand why the brave nation of India is calling for the boycott of Qatar Airways. We strongly understand that.
Okay.
And the question is, why a lot of activists, for example, the Muslim Brotherhoods in Kuwait, they went on silent mode when the government of Gaza, the militias in Gaza, killed today a 61-year-old Muslim.
Okay, why so let's unpack this one by one. Mr. Taha, I just put you on. I just request you to stay with us for a second. Let's unpack this and get the first reaction. So basically, you were saying that while it was a thoughtless and an offensive comment, but to call for a boycott is short-sighted at best and people trying to create trouble at worst. Saket Gokhale, respond.
Hi, thanks, Ms. Joshi.
I completely agree with the fact that calling for boycott and attacking innocent Indians, and that is completely uncalled for, because they are not responsible. It is not the Republic of India that is responsible for what was said. It was the spokesperson of one political party, which is the ruling party. And it has been a matter of great anger for us that the Republic of India, that our ambassadors, that the Ministry of External Affairs is having to apologize for the actions of the spokesperson of a party. It is as if that one party suddenly represents India, but here we have that. Here we have a spokesperson of the ruling party, and then later on she claims that, she had it, the Home Minister backs her, the Prime Minister's office backs her. It is very infuriating for us to see that, the Republic of India is holding the brief for a single political party. This should not reflect on any other Indian except for the party and whose spokesperson made those comments.
Okay. So you think that the matter will rest now? Diplomatically, for those who are saying that India has been left embarrassed, etc., that is an overstatement. India has handled the issue. They have very politely told the OIC and Pakistan that this is none of your business. And as for the other countries, they have expressed anger. We have taken action. That's where the matter rests. Is that correct, Mr. Gokhale?
Not entirely, because while on one side, yes, we do completely can say that this is our internal matter, but the question is, when do we give a right to other countries to speak? Why are we giving them a chance to speak? That's because we are not handling our internal matters properly. The person making these comments, you have had Dharam Sansads in India where some of the worst Islamophobic communal comments have been made. You have union ministers going and garlanding convicts of lynching. So the question is, why are we not, if it's an internal matter, then why are we holding special standards because somebody is from the ruling party? Why are we not handling our internal matters properly?
But like Amjad Taha is saying, maybe we are looking at it lopsided. Instead of us, everyone has internal matters. But we don't go and poke our nose in what is happening in Qatar or what's happening in UAE. But what he seems to suggest is that the same is being done by them. And unjustifiably so, because they do not have a very stellar record of their own, one. And two, it is an internal matter.
Look, the point here, Ms. Joshi, is that these countries did not respond to it as an Indian issue. I mean, look at the population of Muslims all over the world. What this individual, this BJP spokesperson said, ironically on your channel, by the way, the remarks were made, what she said was offensive to Muslims all over the world. It's not that, it was offensive only to Indian Muslims and not to other countries. And therefore, that's the reason these countries spoke up. But the bottom line is, if you're going to call it an internal matter, if we say that action has been taken...
So by that very definition, it can't be an internal matter, right? Then it's a matter of a faith. And that faith extends across the country. Across the world, pardon me, then it cannot be an internal matter, because you're essentially saying that Islamic countries reacting to an Islamic issue, not so much an Indian issue. You yourself are contradicting yourself.
No, but then have we not complained when in Canada or Amazon, for example, Piyush Goyal, Honorable Minister, had called Amazon and protested about the fact that there were pictures of Hindu deities on chappals that were being sold on Amazon in Canada. So it's not like we have not spoken when other countries.
So we have spoken against products. We haven't said that Canada needs to apologize or Canada must be boycotted because there is a product over there. There is a difference. Anyhow, let Amjad Taha respond to that. Amjad Taha, is this going to dent the relationship that India has? Because of a political or internal problem, we are having diplomatic backlash. Amjad Taha.
First of all, when it comes to UAE, I think there is a major difference when it comes to human rights. Here is highly respected in UAE, and we have a lot of women as ministers. Women have their rights, children have their rights. They have one of the best human rights record when it comes to UAE. I would not compare UAE with Qatar, where more than 2,000 people died as working for labor under the sun heat, and they were persecuted, and their rights has been taken from them according to the Human Rights Watch. However, coming back to the point, it is really hard when it comes to Iran, which executed 2,000 people this year. No one spoke about it from the rest of the Muslim world. They did not condemn it, but they do condemn a tweet. It's really hard to understand such a perspective. But however, there is a need to respect the religious symbols and not violate them. And as it is important to confront hate speech and violence, it is important to strengthen the shared international responsibility to spread the values of tolerance and human coexistence, while preventing any practices that would inflame the emotion of followers of the different religion.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is that this is not born so much out of a concern for the condition or the rights of Muslims in India, Sumansi Raman, but more about people trying to fish in troubled waters. Like he said, the same concern is not there for what happens in Palestine, for what happens in Iran, for example, but India suddenly is bombarded. Dr. Sumansi Raman.
If I can comment.
Okay, yes, last 30 seconds, Amjad Taha. Yes, then Dr. Sumansi Raman.
If I can comment on that very quickly. I think even the opposition in India, they tried to use this. It's almost a political game rather than a religious perspective. Yes, we understand the emotion, but the ruling party, they expelled the people who tweeted or made such a statement, and this should be it. And okay, condemnation can be understood. The boycott of the Indian people for the Qatari Airways, also we can understand it, because in the end of the day, equally, as much as we stand against Islamophobism, we should also stand against Hinduphobes around the world.
Dr. Sumansi Raman.
Padmaja, first of all, I fail to understand the reason for the reaction of the Indian government. The government of India is not answerable for the speeches made by individuals in this country. Now, if we are going to conflate this logic and say that the government is essentially of one country, is responsible officially. Now, who should be doing the apology, providing the apology? It's the BJP. It's not for the Ministry of External Affairs. I mean, they should have just told these countries, look, this is not the position of the government of India. This is a comment made by a spokesperson against whom action has been taken, and the matter ends there. And forget about all the examples.
But sir, first of all, there wasn't an apology. There was a statement that was made by the Ministry of External Affairs, point number one. And point number two, if it was a diplomatic, if it was a country-to-country communication, then the country had to respond. If the government of Qatar sends a communique, then you cannot have Bharatiya Janata Party headquarters send a reply.
Padmaja, out of the 18 odd countries, I don't know if that number has increased now, who had issued condemnations and statements and so on, the vast majority of them, in fact all except one or two of them, did after the expulsion. So clearly,
so India has explained its stand. It's not like India has groveled before them. We have responded to countries like Pakistan and OIC, the OIC grouping. We have said very clearly, thank you, but keep your nose out of our business. And to other countries, we have explained our position and said, this is condemnable. We don't associate with it. This was said by a political person, and that's where the matter rests. And we respect all religions and regions.
Let me ask a question now. In the UK Parliament, routinely there are certain members of Parliament who speak the most outrageous things, especially with relationship to Kashmir, in the UK Parliament. Now, these are members of Parliament. Now, does India on each of these occasions ask the UK to issue a counter or register its condemnation? I have not seen that.
So
I see these comments. What do we do? One. And the second part is, these countries who claim to be, offended are not being offended when thousands of Muslim users in China are being treated in the most horrendous manners and sent to concentration camps.
Exactly.
Have they called?
That's exactly what we are saying. So the last people who should be preaching to us are some of these countries who have expressed anger and outrage, including Pakistan.
Why are we bending backwards
How are you bending backwards? Somebody sent a statement and you responded. And like I mentioned, in the case of at least two, the OIC and Pakistan, far from bending backwards, you have stood your ground and said, this is none of your business, because you have a pretty poor track record.
What about the other countries? I'm not talking about
Subuhi
Pakistan or OIC.
Okay. First of all, I, as an Indian Muslim, want to make this statement with full responsibility that our country is not just a piece of land for us. When we call our country our motherland, we do not need Islamic countries as our custodians or our guardians to take care of us. There is absolutely no Islamophobia in India. India does not run on religion. India runs on dharma. India runs on karma. People are celebrated or rejected according to their karmas. We don't need to defend ourselves on this subject, Padmaja, because we burn Ravan and we celebrate and worship Sant Kabir. This is the history of India. This is the national ethos of India. So I want to ask one question to all the panelists and also to the people who are listening. I understand, I agree that Nupur committed a mistake. I am a Muslim, I respect Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and everybody will get hurt. But whoever was watching that debate, will you not agree that she was provoked? Will you not agree that the great darshan of Bharat, Mahadev, was abused and mocked on that TV debate? In the heat of the moment, Nupur said it. What if I say this about your prophet? How will you feel that?
Subui Khan, this is not about what was said. We are very
Padmaja,
clear on that
should be both ways.
We are very clear on that
Respect should be both ways.
The conversation is not about that. Fine.
Government of India has taken their own stand. But I also have to take my stand as a sister. If the country is a motherland, Nupur is our sister. Nobody has the right to declare bounty on her head. Uska sar kalam kar denge,
You are
sar kaat
absolutely
denge.
right over
That
there.
is
But
wrong.
again, let me steer the conversation back to the issue at hand. This is not to discuss the merits of what was said. Our stand on that is very clear, that that cannot be condoned in any fashion. It must be denounced on the other hand. But let me, before I conclude, for anyone who's thinking that India is bending over backwards or that it has groveled before anyone, read out to you what India's actual position was, where they said a statement has been issued by concerned quarters emphasizing respect for all religions, denouncing insult to any religious personality or demeaning any religion or sect. Vested interests are against India. Kuwait relations have been inciting people to use these derogatory comments. We should work together against such mischievous elements who aim to undercut the strength of our bilateral ties. You are speaking from a position of equality, and that is where India stands vis-a-vis our relations. Just as a matter of fact, we are going to have a visit from a very prominent envoy in the next 2 weeks to India. We'll see what happens then. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Subui Khan for joining me. Thanks for watching.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. Times now. Action begins here.
For the last 2 years, the world has been relentlessly fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. As the countries across the globe prioritize vaccinations to keep the next wave of COVID at bay, India also rolled out precautionary jabs this year to achieve herd immunity against the virus. While COVID has not risen substantially in India in the last few months, the pandemic has not yet faded.
The News Hour at 10. The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. Times now. Action begins here. Hour at 10. Times Now. Action begins here.
क्या पूछूं आपसे कि आपका जो स्टे था कांग्रेस पार्टी में, ये शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट था कि हॉट एंड सावर था?
जब जब राजनीति में कोई फैसले होते हैं मैडम जी, तब एक बात बहुत तय होती है कि लोगों के हित के लिए, जनता की सेवा के लिए ये फैसला होना चाहिए, और उसी को देखते हुए ये फैसला लिया गया था। लेकिन जहां गए, जिस कांग्रेस पार्टी पर भरोसा किया, उनके नेताओं पर जो भरोसा किया, उससे एक बात तो तय हो गई थी कि ना ये जन सेवा करना चाहते और ना कोई करता है उसको रोकने का काम करते हैं। जो जन सेवा करना चाहता है उसको रोक दो, हम नहीं करना चाहते तो हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ। और ये काम हम नहीं कर सकते थे। हम आंदोलन के जरिए निकले थे, लोगों ने हम पर उम्मीद देखी थी, हम पर भरोसा किया था, और हमने कहीं ना कहीं गुजरात के भीतर एक अच्छी उम्मीद को खड़ा करने का काम किया था, जो कांग्रेस को इनडायरेक्टली डायरेक्टली 2017 में फायदा किया था और मजबूत विपक्ष की भूमिका में आई थी। लेकिन आज कहां हुआ, ना आपको मीटिंग में बुलाते हैं, आपको वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, लेकिन कोई काम आपका तय ना किया। कहीं ना कहीं सिर्फ अपमान। और हमारे परिवार में और हमारे कई साथी कहते हैं कि अगर जहां सम्मान ना हो वहां अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
तो हार्दिक जी, ये सब आपको पहले से पता नहीं था? क्योंकि 2017 आप पॉलिटिक्स में आए थे और 2019 का चुनाव हुआ था, आप बहुत जगह साथ साथ घूमे थे, क्योंकि आपने फॉर्मली कांग्रेस पार्टी ज्वाइन कर ली थी। और हमेशा से लोग यही कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी एक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओन्ड बाय एक गांधी परिवार है। तो आपको पहले ये पता नहीं था या अंदर जाके कुछ ऐसा पता चला जो आप चौंक गए और इतना सरप्राइज हो गए?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं 2019 में पार्टी ज्वाइन किया था। 2015 से लेकर 2019 तक मैं इंडिपेंडेंट रहा, जनता की आंदोलन किए, जनता की सेवा की, और हमारे आंदोलन के कारण अनेक योजना गुजरात के लोगों को मिली। कांग्रेस में ज्वाइन होने का रीजन ये था कि हमें ऐसा था कि यार हमारा कोई पॉलिटिकल फैमिली है नहीं, पॉलिटिकल परिवार नहीं है, चलो राहुल गांधी जी हमें प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, इसीलिए हम पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ज्वाइन किया। पहले दिन से जो विपरीत परिस्थिति हमारे साथ होती थी, हर दिन हर मुद्दे को लेकर हम राहुल जी को मुद्दा बताते रहते कि आज इन लोगों ने ये किया है, आप थोड़ा देखिएगा। कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं, कोई जवाब नहीं। लगातार हम अपनी परेशानी पार्टी के भीतर जो थी वो राहुल जी तक पहुंचाई, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी स्टैंड नहीं लिया। तो हम जो उस भरोसे से आए थे, उस भरोसा तो हमें काम करने नहीं दे रहा था, वो तो प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर रहा था। बात रही जब कोई लीडर दिल्ली से गुजरात आता है तो उसकी जिम्मेवारी होती है कि यार जो लीडर से यहाँ के स्टेट के, उन सबसे 1 by 1 मिल लिया जाए। कभी भी 1 by 1 मिलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया या ना 1 by 1 मिलने का काम किया। गुजरात में 2017 के चुनाव में 82 सीट्स कुल मिला के कांग्रेस की आई थी। आज कितनी है मालूम है आपको? 65। यानी कि आपके इतने विधायक चले गए, तो आपने कभी एक साथ सभी विधायक से बैठने का काम नहीं किया। जो 4 साल से मैं कह रहा था कि आप सभी विधायक से मिलिए, वो काम अभी दाहोद में 10 दिन पहले जब आए थे तब पहली बार हुआ। तो जब आप जनता के हितों के लिए काम करना नहीं चाहते, उनकी मदद नहीं करना चाहते, उनके लिए खड़ा नहीं होना चाहते, तो आप कैसे विश्वास करते हैं कि गुजरात की जनता आपको मौका देगी, आपको सहयोग देगी? और मैंने लगातार उनको कहा कि आप गुजरात में, ये व्यापारी राज्य है, व्यापारी स्टेट है, यहाँ हर एक व्यापार से जुड़ा हुआ लोग है, आप उद्योग को गाली क्यों दे रहे हैं लगातार? कोई व्यक्ति अपना उद्योग बड़ा कर रहा है तो वो अपनी मेहनत से कर रहा है। आप ये बोल देंगे कि तुम्हें सरकार ने मदद की इसलिए तुम खड़े हो गए। अरे नहीं, 2014 से पहले भी अदानी अंबानी थे, 2014 से बाद थोड़ी ना आए, पहले भी थे ना वो। तो आप लगातार व्यापारी के नाते, एक गुजराती के नाते आप सिर्फ गाली देते रहोगे तो ये ठीक नहीं है।
आपने अपने रेजिग्नेशन लेटर में लिखा है कि जितने लीडर हैं वो गुजरात में वो चिकन सैंडविच के इंतजाम में ज्यादा लगे रहते हैं। तो ये चिकन सैंडविच का शौक किसको है कांग्रेस पार्टी में?
वो तो सबको मालूम है। जो पार्टी के नेता यहाँ प्रचार में आते हैं तो यहाँ की लीडरशिप उनको मुद्दे कम और अपने खाने पीने की व्यवस्था में ज्यादा लग जाती है। जो हकीकत है वो तो लोगों को सबको मालूम है। और यही तो दुख लगता है कि आपको चापलूसी करने का टाइम मिल रहा है, लेकिन यहाँ के लोकल मुद्दे पर उनसे बात करने का मौका नहीं मिल रहा।
नहीं तो चिकन सैंडविच का शौक किसको है, ये तो खुलकर बताइए।
देखिए सबको मालूम है, अब उसमें बताने की क्या बात है नवीखा जी।
नहीं, आपने नाम नहीं लिखा तो मैं पूछ रही हूँ
नेता कौन है, दिल्ली से कौन आता है नेता?
दिल्ली से बहुत सारे आते होंगे, किसकी बात कर रहे हैं, नाम तो बताइए।
राष्ट्रीय नेता तो वही है, राहुल जी आते होंगे गुजरात, उनके लिए सब व्यवस्था होती होगी।
अच्छा, तो वो उनके लिए अलग मेन्यू होता है चिकन सैंडविच का?
बिल्कुल, पार्टी के सब यहाँ के लोकल नेता होते बस उसी में व्यस्त रहते हैं। अगर मुद्दों पे व्यस्त रहे होते तो राहुल जी की एक एक बात गुजरात की जनता के मुद्दों के आधार पे होती। सिर्फ उद्योग और रफाल और मोदी जी को गाली देने पर नहीं रहती, सिर्फ कभी मुद्दे पर, कभी समाधान पर बात हुई नहीं हुई।
तो हार्दिक पटेल जी, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ कि मोदी जी के खिलाफ तो आपने भी बहुत बोला था 2019 के चुनाव में, मुझे याद है आप
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're tuned into Times Now. This is News Now Overnight and I'm Poonam Burde. There's lots lined up for you over the next 1 hour, but let's get you started with the headlines. Days after gang rape of a minor in Hyderabad, police arrest AIMIM MLA's minor son, book him for sexual assault, claim use of a government vehicle in crime. Day after Uttar Pradesh police began probe into Popular Front's role in the June 3rd Kanpur riots, 3 PFI members now arrested. Crackdown gathers pace, over 50 behind bars. Instant bulldozer justice likely in Kanpur rioting case, illegal buildings associated with rioters identified for action. Provocations continue. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammad Khan slams the Islamic world's duplicity, cites instances of anti-India remarks, says no merit in demand for a public apology. Opposition doesn't agree. Pakistan hand in stoking anti-India sentiments in the Arab world revealed, 31 verified handles and bots employed traced to Pakistan. Close to 3 crore rupees, about 2 kilograms of gold and 133 gold coins recovered in raids on Satyendra Jain's aides, claims ED sources. BJP says it's vindication. Aam Aadmi Party says it's vendetta. Ahead of Rajya Sabha elections, Mahavikas Aghadi goes into a huddle to keep its flock together, says confident of winning 4 out of 5 seats in the state. Financial audit of temple in Tamil Nadu triggers controversy. DMK government accuses temple of mismanagement. Temple calls it an attempt to control Hindu faith. PFI proxy Campus Front of India caught stoking fresh fire, instigating hijab defiance in Karnataka. It's a Times Now exclusive. Rahul Gandhi poses with Moosewala's family a day after the former Congress minister's arrest in corruption case, claims Aam Aadmi Party government has messed up law and order in the state. Let's get you started on this edition with breaking news coming in from Hyderabad. Now, days after the gang rape of a minor girl, son of AIMIM MLA has now been arrested. He has been named as an accused and booked for sexual assault in the alleged gang rape case. Listen in to what the Hyderabad Police Commissioner had to say while he briefed the media just a short while ago.
There's a 6th CCL who had got down from the Innova and gone back. He has been charged with 354 IPC, 323 IPC, 9G read with 10 POXO Act, which has a punishment of 5 years minimum and 7 years maximum.
Shomit is live with me for more on this. Now, Shomit, it was on the intervening night of 28th and 29th of May is when the crime occurred. The police in Hyderabad, the TRS government, has been under severe fire for the last 2 days from its opponents about alleged complicity. Now we're given to understand that all accused have been arrested. And what's interesting is that the AIMIM MLA's son has now been arrested and booked for sexual assault just 2 days after the Hyderabad police claimed that there was no such proof against him.
Well, exactly, Poonam. I would like to, tell that there's some clarification here. This accused sixth CCL has been booked not in the gang rape, but also a separate affair has been made against him. However, we can say that he was the person, MLA's son, first of all started the sexual assault on the victim girl. He was, sitting in the Mercedes Benz. He was the person who was, sexually assaulted her and later got down the car. And then the accused, 5 accused who are booked under gang rape, all of them are arrested, and they were the people who have actually took the victim into the Innova car and then later drove that Innova to a isolated place in the Banjara Hills in Jubilee Hills on road number 44. They stopped the vehicle there and they then raped her. First of all, minor raped her, and later 4 others raped her one after another. And finally, 4 were arrested till yesterday, and today finally police arrested the 5th accused from Coimbatore after 30 teams were searching for him in 4 states, and he was arrested today. And now even the MLA's son, he was also booked. He's a juvenile. He's booked under 354, outrage of modesty, and assault 323, and section 9 and 10 of POCSO Act, that also, a sexual assault on the victim. So even, the victim's statement was recorded today in front of the magistrate under 164 CRPC, and the other 5 accused have also been booked under 354, 376D, that is gang rape, 366, 366A, kidnap and minor kidnap, and 323 assault, and section 5 and 6 of POCSO have been imposed on them. And so all the accused have been arrested and the 2 Innovas were seized. We can say that delay happened from the 1st and 3rd, because on the 1st they have altered it to the gang rape, and from the 1st to 3rd, before the media started playing the story, they haven't arrested a single minor or the major. So finally, after it came to the public stream, police started acting, and they have arrested all the accused. And also there was a 1-week delay in spotting the Innova car in which gang rape reported, and also 1-week delay in collecting the evidences from the Mercedes-Benz car and the Innova car. They have seized, collected the evidences of, some footwear has been seized, collected from the Mercedes. Victim's hair has been seized, collected, and as well as some earring has also been seized in the Mercedes-Benz car. Also, collected, the CP said that they have enough evidences now to book and also ensure that they will be convicted in the case. So, however, they said that...
So the police are now building a watertight case. This, of course, comes after several questions were raised about the kind of conduct that came to the fore from the police initially. Also, the TRS government, who has been accused by its political rivals for alleged complicity in the case. What is the reaction of this particular AIMIM MLA and of his party now that his son has been arrested? That, of course, remains to be seen. But for the moment, Shomit, thank you so much for getting us the latest. Shifting focus now to Maharashtra, where there is a rumble on over the Rajya Sabha elections that take place on the 10th of June, which is in 3 days from now. The Mahavikas Aghadi, who had holed up all their MLAs in a resort in the suburbs of Mumbai, just held a meeting a short while ago. That meeting just concluded about half an hour or so ago, and the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi is confident of putting up a tough fight. They are confident their flock is together, and 4 out of the 6 Rajya Sabha seats from the states are in their kitty, is what they believe.
Number one, I wouldn't say this was the strategy meeting. It was the meeting of the Mahavikas Aghadi Legislative Party. We already have demonstrated the numbers that we have when we obtained the vote of confidence 2.5 years back. We have adequate numbers to get all our 4 members elected. I don't know why BJP, without having adequate numbers, have forced the election. This is done very clearly with the intention of horse trading. They have the resources for horse trading, but I am sure that no MLA of Mahavikas Aghadi will fall prey to this horse. MLC seat is not yet called. The parties will announce their candidates today or tomorrow. That's a different story. Let us finish Rajya Sabha election first on 10.
We have the number, we have the strength. Everybody has seen it. What BJP wants to show, I don't understand. When they don't have the number, they shouldn't have contested this. But I think so, they have a habit of creating an environment where they want to show that this government is not stable, and every 6 months they keep on calling this government is going to fall, the numbers are not with them. Every election they do this, but you see on 10th Mahavikas Aghadi candidates are going to win.
All those who are there,
And they have advised them be united and show to the nation and the BJP that don't create some virtual images outside it. What is fact? Fact is that the MVA, Maha Vikas Aghadi, is going to win all the 6 seats.
Arunil is live with us from Mumbai now. Arunil, that meeting in Mumbai just ended where senior leaders of the Maha Vikas Aghadi were present, including the Chief Minister of the state, the head of the government there. All of them have one thing to say, that we are extremely confident, our flock is together, we are winning 4 out of those 6 seats. Why then are they spending money to hold up their MLAs in a resort for 4 to 5 days? What are they scared of if they're that confident?
Well, Poonam, there is a saying that they're not accepting it, but clearly the Maha Vikas Aghadi is in a huddle over here. Clearly, a clear-cut show of strength by CM Uddhav Thackeray and NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar, as well as by the Congress party, getting all their MLAs together, and also trying to give out a message to the BJP that we all are in this together. There are some of the independent MLAs who had given our support to the Maha Vikas Aghadi. They are still with us. Now, how does the BJP respond to it? That will be very interesting. But it seems like Devendra Fadnavis has thrown basically a cat amongst the pigeons, and the reaction that has come out is like the MLAs have been put up in different hotels, be it the NCP or the Congress MLAs. They have been put up in a hotel in western suburbs in Mumbai. When it comes to Shiv Sena, their MLAs are staying at a plush hotel in South Mumbai. Was there a need to do it just because Devendra Fadnavis and the BJP said that we are going to win 3 out of the 6 Rajya Sabha seats? Then came these kind of developments from the state of Maharashtra. In this as well, the independents and the smaller parties particularly are going to play an extremely crucial role. Smaller parties like the Samajwadi Party, the AIMIM, as well as the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi, which also has 3 MLAs. Now, all these smaller parties are trying to mount pressure on CM Uddhav Thackeray, trying to get their work done as much as possible, so that in response to the votes that they will be giving to the Maha Vikas Aghadi. One important development that is expected tomorrow, Poonam, is that the court will be hearing the pleas of Anil Deshmukh and Nawab Malik, whether they will be allowed to vote tomorrow. If that is not been allowed, then NCP certainly loses out on 2 votes. The Maha Vikas Aghadi loses out on 2 votes.
Right, so it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Are they also banking on those 2 votes? That's something the Maha Vikas Aghadi really needs to think about. Meanwhile, the political fight over this is only escalating. But for the moment, Arunil, thank you so much for getting us the latest. Now, why are we witnessing this rumble over the Rajya Sabha elections in Maharashtra? Because there are 16 states across seats for the Rajya Sabha, I beg your pardon, across 4 states that are up for grabs, and 6 out of those 16 are in Maharashtra. Now, 41 members of parliament have already been elected unopposed to the Rajya Sabha, but on 10th, which is in 3 days from now, there will be elections for 16 seats. Here's where it gets tricky, because in 3 states, the fight is extremely tight, which is why we're seeing all of these parties, and it's not just the Congress or the opposition, it's even the BJP that is herding its MLAs to resorts and to plush hotels to keep their flock together. The template is the same come every election. Round up your MLAs, keep them holed up far from the reach of your rivals, and then hope that come election day, there is no cross voting. Like in Maharashtra, we were just discussing how there have been all of the Aghadi MLAs who have been in this resort for the last couple of days to ensure that there is no horse trading. Several of these meetings have been held by senior leaders of the alliance partners there. One just concluded, like I said, and the key is going to be on the smaller parties and the independents, which way they vote. Will they go with the Maha Vikas Aghadi, or will they go with the BJP and choose BJP's candidate? That is something that is going to be looked out at keenly. Their valuable support is what all stakeholders in Maharashtra need, like this one. Listen in.
हमारे एमएलए तीनों, हम तीनों एमएलए बैठ के किसको देने का ये डिसाइड करेंगे और उस हिसाब से काम करेंगे। ग्रांटेड लिया है, ऐसा नहीं है। ठीक, हम पकड़ के चलते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो इसी हिसाब से कांग्रेस वाले हो, सेना वाले हो, बीजेपी वाले हो, उनका कैंडिडेट है, अप्रोच करते हैं सभी सीनियर से डिस्कस करके इलेक्शन के दिन 10 तारीख को वोट किसको देने का, क्या करने का हम डिसाइड करते हैं.
Now, it's not just Maharashtra where there's hectic political activity, because in Haryana as well, the Congress party is in action and has been since last week. Their MLAs are being hosted not in that state because it's run by the BJP, but in a state where the Congress is in power, that is in Chhattisgarh. Why? Because it's a prestige issue for the Huda father and son duo in the state to ensure that their flock stays together and votes for their candidate for the Rajya Sabha elections. Now, in Rajasthan as well, the situation is similar, but here the BJP too has joined the ranks of the Congress party to herd their MLAs into resorts, because both of them seem to be falling short as far as picking their own candidate or pushing their own candidate come June 10th is concerned. Now, let me tell you the significance of what really is behind this entire drama or the political activity that is ensuing across these three states. Now, the significance is that so far in 40 long years, no party has achieved absolute majority in the upper house. So the BJP is vying for that, because right now their tally is dipped below 100 in the Rajya Sabha. Percentage-wise, they're a wee bit under the 50% mark. Now, imagine if you cross that barrier, it'll be so much more easier for the BJP to pass legislations through like they've been doing in the Lok Sabha as well. And that is exactly what the opposition is hoping to stop. The fact that this is the last Rajya Sabha election ahead of the 2024 general elections is also extremely crucial, because it could give the BJP the momentum it hopes to get before the Lok Sabha elections. And most importantly, the presidential elections are just a month away. MPs and MLAs vote for their party's pick for the president, and the BJP is hoping to get an edge in those elections as well. Moving on now to the other big story that we're tracking here on Times Now. There will be zero tolerance on rioters. That is the clear and unambiguous message that was sent by the Yogi Sarkar after a violent mob ran riot on the streets of Kanpur on the 3rd of June. Now, the police has put out CCTV videos of the accused and made over 50 arrests. The civil administration has also now vowed to bring in the bulldozers against these illegal encroachments. It's a two-pronged offensive that has left riot sympathizers completely rattled, including the Popular Front of India that seems to be wanting to stoke trouble every opportunity it gets. Because of PFI, whose link is now emerging to the riot mastermind, and 3 of their members have also now been arrested, has called this bulldozer justice is nothing but a witch hunt against Muslims and even an act of terror. First, listen in to what the Yogi government has to say about an iron fist policy against the culprits.
देखिए 50 लोग अब तक गिरफ्तार हो गए हैं और आगे इन्वेस्टिगेशन जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ेगा हो सकता है कि गिरफ्तारियों में और इजाफा हो।
पेट्रोल पंप्स का एक मुद्दा नज़र आया, जो उस एरिया के आसपास स्थित पेट्रोल पंप्स थे वो इलीगली जो प्रोहिबिटेड होता है ज्वलनशील पदार्थ को बॉटल्स वगैरह में बेचना, उस तरह का फुटेज हमने रिट्रीव किया और उसको पुलिस को सपोर्ट किया। वी हैव डिसाइडेड दैट वी हैव टू कम अप विद अ आयरन हैंड एंड इन एनी केस सच irregularity or illegality comes to fore, so we'll take a stringent action and as per the legal proceedings we'll take it up. जो KDA नॉर्म्स हैं उनके अनुरूप कार्रवाई करेंगे एंड जहां भी अवैधानिक रूप से बिल्डिंग्स हैं उनके डिमोलिशन की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी तो वो भी करेंगे।
Now, you heard the Yogi government's stand as far as the rioters, the alleged rioters are concerned. But there are several politicians that are lining up to defend these rioters, calling them innocents. We saw how Akhilesh Yadav's MLA from Maharashtra, Abu Azmi, came yesterday and gave it his own spin. But there are several others too who have jumped in, including Owaisi, who has come out and called this action selective and communal. Now, let us remind you how the political links are emerging to these rioters who have been named and shamed. The first one is that of the alleged Congress link, because the mastermind or the alleged mastermind, as believed by the state government, is an ex-secretary of the Youth Congress. He's been pictured with Congress's Rajya Sabha candidate Imran Pratapgarhi, and photos of this particular mastermind speeches in front of Priyanka's poster have also come to the fore. The PFI link that we were discussing, for which 3 people have now been arrested, is that the mastermind and the PFI are somehow linked, and that is under investigation, with the police now looking at the mastermind Hayat's bank accounts as well. There's also an alleged Samajwadi Party link, because one of the accused that has been named in the FIR, Nizam Qureshi, has been expelled from the Samajwadi Party as a district president not too long ago. However, the alleged mastermind, Hayat Hashmi's wife, insists that he has no link to the PFI and has no link to the violence that ensued in Kanpur on the 3rd of June.
मुझे ये मालूम है कि प्रोग्राम को कैंसिल कराने के लिए उनके पास फोन आया था और वो यहाँ से गए थे और मुझे उन्होंने ये बताया कि जो बताया क्या, अब तो फेसबुक से पता चल ही रहा है, सब तरह से पता चल रहा है कि उन्होंने सारे अधिकारियों को स्टेटमेंट लिखित में दे दिया था, सारे अधिकारियों से, कि मेरी तरफ से कुछ नहीं होगा। और ये 15 साल का रिकॉर्ड रहा है कि उन्होंने हमेशा हर अधिकारी को अपना स्टेटमेंट जो दिया है, 15 साल का रिकॉर्ड अगर आप ढूंढेंगे तो उसमें कभी भी उन्होंने उनको बात को गलत नहीं साबित किया है। देखिए, वो मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया कि ये जो बंदी हुई है ये एक पर्टिकुलर इंसान के लिए तरफ से नहीं हुई है, ये इस्लाम के लिए हुई है बंदी, हमारे नबी के लिए है। अगर उन्होंने लिख दिया है माशाअल्लाह बंदी रही तो शांतिपूर्वक रही ना, उन्होंने ये तो नहीं लिखा अच्छा हुआ माशाअल्लाह बहुत अच्छा हुआ दंगा भड़क गया, ये नहीं लिखा उन्होंने लिखा माशाअल्लाह। अगर उन्होंने लिखा है तो
Now, the BJP has turned the tables on the opposition, accusing the Akhilesh Yadav-led Samajwadi Party of appeasing to radical elements and even trying to shield terrorists. They quoted a specific instance that came to the fore yesterday, a quote from the 2012 letter that was written by the former SP Sarkar seeking legal opinion on withdrawing terror cases against the mastermind of the 2006 Varanasi serial blast, the same man who was given the death penalty by the court just yesterday. Now, the contents of that court document expose the Samajwadi Party, says the BJP.
Samajwadi Party is actually a Samaj Virodhi party, and Samajwadi Party ka haath hamesha atankiyon ke saath. This has been proven yet again because the Varanasi blast 2006 terrorists Shamim and Waliullah, whom Mr. Akhilesh Yadav's government in